All right, this is the call to order. This is German Village Commission hearing. Today's date is February 4th, 2006. It is 4:06 p.m. We are at 111 North Front Street, room 204. The next business meeting will be Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 12 noon here at 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 205, right next door. The next hearing will be Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 at 4 p.m. here at 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 204. Go ahead and swear in. Staff, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth of the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Sophie Vogel.
Thank you. We'll go through the commissioners present. On my left,
Ned Thiel.
Anthony Hartke, Chair.
Bhakti Banya.
Effie.
Karen McCoy.
All right, move ahead to items of public forum. We do have one speaker for public forum, Robert Jackson.
My name is Robert Jackson.
Real quick before you do anything,
Do what?
excuse me, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth of the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Robert Jackson.
Okay.
My name is Robert Jackson. I grew up in the Henry Ford Historic District in Dearborn, Michigan. In my 20s, I restored a historic home that was passed down through the original family that actually bought the home directly from Henry Ford in my 20s. So I have a long history of living in historic districts. Currently, I'm a resident of German Village. I don't really have a presentation. I have more of a request for help in understanding Article 3, Section 5 of the GVC bylaws, specifically where it states that 2 people from a list of 4 that are recommended by the German Village Society get an appointment to the GVC. What looks like it's either strongly recommended or it's an automatic appointment. The concern that I have is that the GVS, the German Village Society, is actually a private corporation. They're a pay-to-play corporation, meaning that you have to buy membership for $50 to get into the company. And then once you get into the company, there's no real clear democratic path to see that how you get representation through the board or through the president. It really looks like it's not democratic at all. It's a representation where the board selects its new members and then they appoint the president and the executive staff on recommendation. So the GVS has, it looks like about 1,000 members. I would say about half of those are actually residents of German Village. German Village itself has 4,000 members. So it looks like you've got about, 500 people that are representing 4,000 people in the village. So, and that's fine. I mean, to have a society that's doing all the preservation work and all the things that they do and the events that they have, that's, I totally understand that. The problem that I have, or the concern or the confusion that I have, is how does a private company that you have to pay membership to, that you don't have any democratic representation, bridge that gap of being a private company to being part of the GVC automatically? Because this is a city government, this is democratic, representation, and it seems like we've given a private company direct path into this organization. And where's the checks and balances on that? Where's the representation? And I don't quite understand how that I can see how it got there 50 years ago, but it seems to be kind of problematic now, especially in the last year. There's been some things that have been done that certainly don't represent the whole village as a community. And I don't know what happened if the village had voted for that democratically. So what I'm looking for is, I don't know if somebody can reach out to me afterwards. I know, Sophie, you gave me the city attorney's number, so I'm going to reach out to him. And I guess if I'm not understanding that correctly, or if there's fair representation in that mechanism, if somebody can just explain that to me, that's fine. But if everything that I've said is kind of true, and there is that coming from a private company with no democratic into the GVC, that doesn't seem like that's fair representation of government. So I'm looking for a mechanism to see if there's a way to review that statute in the bylaws.
Sure. And for the record, the public forum is not necessarily a back and forth, but however, your question is pretty straightforward. All commissioners, whether they're recommended by a German Society or at large, everything goes through the mayor and through city council. And so none of us sit on the commission without approval from city council or the mayor. So regardless of who GVS recommends, city council has final say on who gets appointed to the commission.
But isn't the exact wording that it's recommended that they choose 2 people from the 4 people? Have they ever not chosen 2 people from the 4 people?
I can't speak to past. Currently, the 2 that are on the commission currently are myself and Commissioner Thiel. And I've been on for 10, 11 years, and Commissioner Thiel's been on as long, if not longer. So we have not come across that in the recent past. But if there's issues with that, the city attorney would be the one to talk to for it.
All right. And like we spoke, I might, you don't really have a view into the GBS, right?
No.
And I might not have all the facts on how the representation works or not. That's just what I've experienced in the past year since I was. So I'd like to clarify that I have the facts right for that organization, and then also clarify how the transition from GBS to GBC happens. So.
It's just simply they recommend to city council and the mayor, and then they make the ultimate decision.
But if they've never not taken the 2 people that they've recommended, that's a fast track from a private organization. That's really
Appointed by public entities, and it's up to your elected council to make the decision at the end of the day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the staff approvals, and those begin on page 4 of your agenda. Are there any recusals?
Chairman, I have none.
I have none. I have none.
Non-recusal.
None.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move to ratify the staff approvals.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Moving on to the minutes from last meeting, January 7th, 2025. I need to recuse myself as I was not in attendance.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the staff minutes from 1/7/25. 26. Sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstains? Aye. Moving on to the recommended applications from staff. Item 1, COA 2600008, 728 South 6th Street. We have an applicant for 728. There you go. And once you're both settled, if you raise your right hands, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth.
Yes. Yep.
Your name?
Steve Hurt with Urban Order Architecture.
Thank you.
Dean Burlon.
Thank you.
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations to a porch to replace the existing non-original porch railing per the submitted drawings. Replace existing deteriorated wooden porch floor to match the existing. Replace non-original porch skirt with vertical skirting. Replace 2 front light fixtures and 2 rear light fixtures per the submitted documentation, and to paint all exterior wood trim, porch, and dormers with Benjamin Moore CW 180 Book Trout Brown. HBO staff note that the majority of the application is staff approvable items, with the exception of the change in the porch railing. All items have been kept as one application for the commission to review holistically. And staff recommends approval of application COA 2600008, 728 South 6th Street, as submitted, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, Standards for Alteration, numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 12, and the German Village Guidelines for porches and stoops.
Thank you. Anything else to add?
Not unless you have questions.
right.
This photo shows that those flat boards and that trim, the trim is finger jointed. The flat boards look like new pine. So that's how we came up with this can't be the original railing. And then our clients have, the houses across the street have the modesty panels, and they would prefer that. So that's why we're proposing that.
Questions, comments from the commission?
I have 2 questions. There's a metal railing on either side that's not shown in the proposed elevation. Is that just going to be replaced?
We're going to keep that.
Okay.
It's mounted into the
Floor.
floor and into the brick. So we're keeping the brick steps, we're keeping the decorative concrete block piers, and that railing. If we replace it, we would have just done the same thing. So it's like,
I did want to clarify, the bullet light fixtures are for the rear and the Hinkley's are for the front.
yes.
Okay, because that was not in,
It wasn't specified.
yeah, it wasn't specified. I just want to clarify that.
And I've got a couple items of clarification. Top of floorboards says to be to match existing, so top of floorboards not to exceed above the water table of the structure.
Basically, we have to put it back where it is because of the existing steps. So it's in an odd location.
Okay.
And there's actually a window well on the porch.
Okay.
So to lower it to where it should be, we would have to, it would be rebuilding everything.
Mhm.
Okay. My other question, looked like in some of the existing photos, the front gutter was kind of hanging down. Are you planning on doing gutter repairs while you're on that porch?
They just,
I'm just looking from street view photos, which may be old.
okay, I assume that they got approval to reline their box gutters and change that roof, but the porch has new copper lining.
Okay.
So
I just
don't-
want to make sure if there was any gutter work as part of the application or not. If not, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And that's all I've got.
I don't recall a hanging down gutter, but it's not hanging down anymore.
And from my perspective, typically putting on a solid panel railing would not be something we would go for. However, what's currently there is essentially opaque. So it's not really obscuring the facade any more than is currently there to any appreciable extent, which is why I'm in favor of the panel in this specific scenario. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, on item COA 26000008, 728 South Sixth Street, I move to approve as submitted and clarified.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, COA 2600001, 192 Thurman Avenue. You raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
And your name?
Mark Hours.
Thank you very much.
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations to install a new gas lantern adjacent to the primary door of the main home. HBO staff note that the proposed light fixture is simple in design, is placed appropriately adjacent to the primary entry door, and is an appropriate scale and proportion and with the scale of the facade. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2600001, 192 Thurman Avenue, as submitted, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, Standards for Alteration, numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 12, and the German Village Guidelines for site lighting, street furniture, pools, fountains, and gazebos.
Anything else to add?
I do not.
Any questions, comments from the commission? I'll make one statement because I know I'm in the minority on this. I believe that the way the guidelines are written, I don't believe that adding gas lanterns where they didn't exist are appropriate. However, historically, I am in the minority. I just want to explain the vote before it goes.
Mr. Chairman,
I have a question.
oh, sorry.
For the other door that's to the right, there's a small light to the
Yes,
left.
it's going to be eliminated.
Okay, that's what I didn't want to.
Yeah, it's a remnant from when the
But
porch
that
was
was-
still there. Yeah, it's coming out.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, item COA 2600001, 192 Thurman Avenue. I move to approve as submitted and clarified.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? I would also clarify that if this passes, reminder for staff on the COA to go through mortar joints, not through brick, as to whatever extent possible. And when removing the existing light fixture, to patch any holes using proper mortar. Any other questions? All those in favor? Against? Aye. Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Moving on to item number 3, COA 2501265 Bravo, 175 East Deschler.
Burger.
Burger, I think.
Burger Alley.
Item 3?
I think it's misnumbered on that.
Okay.
Did you download before?
Download the last one that was in the file, so it's okay. He just printed this one for me here.
Well, not Deschler on my agenda at all.
All right. Let's check for 1 second. We get ourselves figured out here. So for item 3, you're looking at the Greenscapes applicant.
There's 2 number 3s on Kindles. One is for
Uh-oh.
199 Burger Alley,
There's
the
2
other is
3s.
175 East Deschler.
Okay, so we are looking at the Deschler
The
one,
East Deschler.
the Deschler number 3.
I didn't even have it on my agenda.
You can use mine.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we got that figured out. If you both raise your right hands, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Your name?
Mark Aubrey.
Thank you.
James Hubbard.
Thank you. Steph?
This is a request for action for landscaping to remove the existing corner style wood steps and replace with new straight wood steps. The flagstone walkway to be adjusted to accommodate the new step layout. Removal of the brick landing between the steps and the fence. The following is taken from the unapproved January 7th, well, now approved January 7th GVC meeting minutes. Commissioners stated that the steps complement the design and porch, but they request the applicant to add a step railing that complements the design of the porch railing but does not need to mimic. The applicant has provided updated drawings that show the design of the proposed step railing. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2501265B, 175 East Deschler Avenue, as submitted, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to staff prior to issuance of a STIT. The basis for this recommendation is City Code 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements, A and B. And I will note this was added to the agenda last minute based on error from staff.
Anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
Questions, comments from the commission?
I think my one clarification is on the 3rd page, the 2nd page, you're calling out both as existing porch. And I think maybe it was a confusion on my end of new stairs versus old stairs. I don't know.
Are you talking about those top 2 drawings there?
Yeah.
They're just the same. The one on the right there just has the overlay of that existing stair set.
Okay.
So they're the same location.
That's
It was just to not confuse the one drawing with all the dimensions and elevations there.
okay.
Any other questions?
So this is just for that back stair and railing is what we're looking at this for? Okay.
I don't have anything else.
If there are none, is there a motion?
I don't know what the number is.
This will be the correct number. This is the most recent one that was
Right.
printed off with the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, on item COA 2501265B, 175 East Deschler Avenue, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item number 4, COA 2500103, 199 Burger Alley. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
And your name?
James Kenny.
This is a request for action for landscaping to create a new curb cut off of Macon Alley for a new brick parking pad, to remove one brick pillar and approximately 9 feet of existing masonry wall and iron fencing, and to create a new 500 square foot brick patio and parking pad per the submitted site plan. This application was previously reviewed at the March 2025 GVC hearing, and the following is from those hearing minutes. The commissioners present concluded that due to the existing conditions where there is no existing limestone or sandstone curbing, the curbs are concrete, and alleys would not typically have had historic curbs, they would likely be supportive of a curb cut at the proposed location. The final proposal must meet all curb cut conditions and include a complete and appropriate landscaping plan. Per the guidelines, entry doors should not appear as if they are no longer usable, porches and stoops should remain, and plantings or signs can be used to indicate a door is not a functioning entryway. The commission requested the applicant provide a more detailed existing and proposed site plan, materials for the new steps and porch, measurements for all new landscaping elements, and measurements and descriptions for how the grade change will be handled within the yard. Will the new curb cut and parking area impact the maneuverability for the neighbor into their garage? The applicant should submit documentation as to why the historic concrete block porch is not historic. Was it approved or installed without approval? HBO staff notes that the 1961 Sanborn maps show the porch relating to the now enclosed doorway on the north elevation, and notes that per the guidelines on doors, any alterations should be made as reversible as possible so that doorways can be used again in the future with minimal work. As such, staff recommend that doorways remain accessible even if fixed shut. Staff recommendation is to continue the application to allow time for the applicant to pursue a landscaping plan that is more in line with the German Village guidelines and city code. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements, A and B, the German Village Guidelines 2005 amendments on curb cuts, the German Village Guidelines on doors, the German Village Guidelines for walks, sidewalks, driveways, patios, and parking lots, and the German Village Guidelines for fences and walls.
Anything else to add?
Yeah, a few things. So just thank you for continuing the application. My goal is to add just a modest one parking spot and still maintain my outdoor space, which I use quite a bit. As you know, it's been increasingly difficult to find parking in German Village. Coming home at 7 o'clock at night and having to fend with the Lindy's valet is not the most enjoyable experience after working. But I think that these plans reflect the German Village feedback that I received the last time. I reviewed all the meeting minutes that are available online, as well as the existing conditions on my block, and just overall trying to enhance the property so it's more in line with my neighbors.
Questions, comments from the commission?
Yeah, I'll start off. No problem with you looking for a parking spot. I get it. Walked over to the site. Clarification on the southwest corner, there is a radius in that curb that turns into your neighbor's driveway, garage, that we need to show on this.
Okay.
That's where, there's where I started, is with that problem there. I would like to see the property line on this.
It is on there.
That dash.
I included the
Gray.
site drawing.
Page 16 of the application is the survey.
Yeah, but that doesn't show us where it does with the new design.
I can show you on the drawing.
Well, so looking at it, it looks to me like the wall you want to take out is actually on your neighbor's property, that low retaining wall. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I
Which is
included
why
the
I'm looking
drawing.
for clarification on this before
Sure.
I would approve this. I need to know where that property line is relative to the work that you're doing.
Before you go further, if you go to page 15, let's just point out specifically what we're talking about so everybody's on the same page. It's that stacked stone retaining wall you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you
You can
zoom in
see
at the
the
curve.
pin on the drawing there.
Can you show me in your design drawing where that property is?
Yeah. Do you mind if I stand up?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's right there. but lines up with that wall.
Okay, so again, their drain looks like it runs underneath that wall. That wall to me looks like it's on.
It
their
does.
property.
And that's why I include the email from my neighbor.
Yeah,
So I
so. and I
viewed
think-
this with them.
So could we read that email from your neighbor just to read it into the record?
It's the last
Very
page.
last thing.
I'll read it in. It states, "Hi Jay, thank you for providing the drawings for your parking spot project. Bruce and I do not have any objections to the drawings provided that the project is constructed within your property lines and that you do not change the drain which is located on your property. Best, Sherry and Bruce Lazier."
So again, I'd like to see a design drawing that shows me where the property line is and where that stacked stone wall is that you are proposing to take out and replace with brick. And how you're gonna handle that change in grade,
Okay.
number one. Okay, so that's an issue. And also, I think the drain is under that wall, so whatever that grading is, again, okay, so that's where we'll start. The brick pier that you want to move.
So can I ask how the curb cut is on their property is applicable to this drawing?
Well, I'm gonna say, let me go on, okay? Because it's there. Okay, I have no problem with you, we've said, no problem with curb cut.
That's, I'm just trying to understand so that when I do come back, I can address this concern because this wasn't raised previously.
So your concern is,
I'm just trying to better understand why the curb cut needs to be on the drawing and how that applies to this.
just because it's relative information,
Got it.
doesn't reflect anything you're doing,
Right.
just
That's
provides
my point.
context.
Understood.
Just, that's all that is. That's all I'm asking for that, okay? So the pier and wrought iron fence motif is a 70s, 80s kind of issue that was brought forward and approved and built in the village. We have not been approving any new ones of those or supporting modifications of them, which you're doing.
Not following you. Because you're arguing that it is historic.
No, we're not arguing that it's historic.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, I would not support you putting a new brick pier up at the corner.
Those need to come down because I'm sure you saw they're slanting over.
Slanting
Tipping
over and not wide enough for your driveway. I'm just saying, I'm not supporting replacing them with brick piers.
You're saying get rid of them.
Get rid of them and just do a wrought iron fence.
I see. Okay. That makes more
And,
sense.
and get rid of that concrete piece across the bottom completely.
Got it. I wasn't
You
following
want
you
to
there.
keep the step for the gate and everything north of that. You're not modifying anything at that, so I support that
Got it.
and keep the wall if you want.
Yeah, got it.
Which wall?
So we got concrete curb, then we've got step for the gate, main gate, and then there is a stacked wall going north along the alley. You can see it up there?
Oh, yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
so
It's
he's
like
not
an
modifying
increment.
that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Understood.
And it would be appropriate to remove the concrete curb and move our curb cut, get rid of the whole damn thing. Then the issue with the swing of the gate out into the alley. I
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna be allowed to do that.
It should go, I think I had it going inwards.
Yeah, it needs to go inwards, if you're gonna have one.
It's not, it's showing us out.
Is it? Okay. So that needs to be revised.
Also, I don't know how wide or how deep your car would have to go to be able to swing it back if it was going inside. Once you get in, I'm not sure you're gonna be able to close the
And I-
gate.
Frankly, it's more, I was trying to match it to the neighbor's
Okay.
plan, which I included.
So swinging in, yes, swinging up,
Yeah, I agree.
not that they're gonna let you. So, and then my only other comment is the proposed replacement of the stoop and stairs is visible from the public way. I think a wood or stone solution would be more appropriate.
Mhm.
And I have no issue with the proposed elevation, east elevation balcony and door closures, so.
And I will say, I brought up at a previous hearing about the removal of the porch, specifically around the guideline statement of making sure doors that are existing stay accessible. I think we are faced with a situation of, is the porch there a historic element or not? I think the topping of the porch has been replaced over time. Looks very new, like your letter has stated. The base of it doesn't appear to be anything that is a historic design of anything. I don't think it's a contributing piece to the property. So taking the porch away, I think, is appropriate in this condition, this specific location. The question is what is done with the existing door that is now left up in the air? You did provide a couple examples to speak to those.
Across the alley.
Yeah. Down to it. On 649 South Fifth and 206 East Beck, those are purely appropriate examples where a porch is still there, they're still accessible. They can be fixed shut. We have no problem fixing shut a door permanently, as long as it still reads as a historic door, a door opening. The ones over on 295 South 6 and 641 Mohawk, those have been around since pre-2007. We don't know what was there previously. No evidence for that. And then 640 South 5th, I'm not sure how that one got to where it's at. There is no street view history to that past 2019. The question becomes, the bar is being put up on the windows. Typically, that's indicative of a Juliet balcony, which we have not been approving. Is there another solution there for fixing that shut that would not require the railing being added to it?
So that was to also match the neighbor across the street, which I believe you all approved that plan. That is also matches my neighbor on the other side of the townhouse at 193
Here?
Burger Alley.
Gotcha.
That's right across from him.
Mhm.
It's out just outside the picture, but yeah,
Gotcha.
it's exactly what was approved there.
Yeah, that's right before I came on.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I will say what got built across the street doesn't necessarily, aside from that railing there, the street side railing is not matching what was built, but we're not here to litigate their property. But I agree with Commissioner Thiel's statements on curb cut being appropriate in this location based upon our guidelines. I would, for my purpose, I'd recommend looking at another option of fixing the door shut without having the railing. If it's just there as a decorative to match the next door property, across the street property, you don't need to match it per se.
Okay.
So if it's not necessary to have it, I think it's extra ornamentation that's not necessary.
Will it be operational? Oh, then you don't need the railing.
Oh, okay. Just
Yeah,
leave it.
just permanently close the door.
Sounds good.
Save yourself some cash.
And that goes back to the Durham Village Guidelines section on adding ornamentation to properties. So that's not historically there.
That makes it easier.
Sure. One less thing for you to pay for.
Thank you.
So it sounds like there's a couple updates need to be done. Are these things, Commissioner Thiel, that you are comfortable with as a staff review, or do they need to come back to the commission?
I really do want to see what that property line is relative to the work he's proposing. I really do before I approve.
You're killing, I mean, we do a staff proposal as a matter of just putting an arrow on that drawing there. I mean, you guys got a boatload of applicants here. I'm on call right now.
Yeah, but this is on me.
How about she shows you the plan and you approve it then?
Can't do that.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'd have to do a subcommittee.
Yeah. I just want to,
I mean, you were there, you saw
I'm
the
willing to
pin.
approve this on the condition, the stipulation that all the work is on your property and does not affect their property, their structures, their improvements whatsoever.
That would be great.
That would be my,
That could be
Updated drawings based on removal of the piers, though?
oh yeah, we'd have to revise, yeah,
to staff.
To staff.
yeah. As long as it's as long as the wrought iron fence matches what's there.
Great.
Are there any other questions or comments at the other end table?
So I believe we should clarify, because what was presented was a taller gate that, basically worked with the brick piers. If the brick piers are going away, we're saying that the wrought iron, the new gate should just be a continuation of the height of the existing fence and
Yeah.
style.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an easy fix.
Okay.
I mean, I think both piers need to go. The one to the north of the man gate, because it's there and he's not doing anything with it, can stay. But everything headed south of that's got to match and be the same height.
I understand that. I just
Okay.
was trying to clarify the design of that gate to match the existing fence because it's a new design now.
Yep, yeah.
And on those lines, there's a piece at the very north end, when you take the porch out, there's a section that doesn't have fence there currently. That fence would need to
Go
match.
all the way down to
Yeah.
the end. Okay.
Because you won't be able to return. Right now, it just stops. Then you have the porch mast to block entry into your yard. If that step gets shorter,
Correct.
you have a big gap in there you're going to want to close. So either extend the fence or you probably might want to put some plantings in there. I think that's part of the revised drawings is what your intent is to deal with that gap there.
Understood.
Commissioner Thiel, since you had the comments, do you want to make the motion?
Yeah. Let me give it a shot. Okay, Mr. Chairman, item COA 2500103-199 Burger Avenue, I move to approve as amended by the applicant that all work will be on his property. The final drawings will indicate the property line, and his work will not affect any improvements, construction, et cetera, of the property owner to the south. Demolition of the piers, no piers are to remain in the design except for the one to the north of the gate. It will be a continuous wrought iron fence from the. Are you running a fence across the south property too?
Yes.
Okay, so it will be one continuous fence along the south property line, along the east property line, either new fence or existing fence.
It should be, yeah.
And it will all match the same design and match the existing fence design. Curb cut is gone, concrete curb along that part is to be removed. Is anything, gates are to swing in, and the porch. The door that's being vacated is just sealed without a railing. And what do we cite in the porch?
Wood or
Wood-
Stone.
Wood or stone for the porch construction.
That works.
Is
If
there,
all
are
those items met, it can be staff approval.
there any, is there a second, first off?
second.
Are there any questions on that motion? Staff, you good on the motion?
Any questions?
Okay. All right. If there's no questions, we'll take the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Show the curb on the neighbor's cut.
You put it in there.
All right, moving ahead to item number 5, COA 250-1241-267 Reinhardt. Once you're settled, you'll raise your right hand. 1 second.
It's not.
Put your hand back down.
On the list.
Not in here.
It's not in there.
No.
It should be.
Also, the
1241.
5 is 736 South Fifth. Do you want this?
It's not in here unless
It's on the original.
It's not a good tech day.
It's okay.
it's on there, it's just not labeled.
Okay.
It's the,
They might, yeah, because
it's just,
Yeah.
that one was.
They were numbered correctly on
Identified
OneDrive,
by
not in the file system was the issue.
this one, yeah.
You're good.
Didn't have an address.
All right, we all good? All right, numbering snafus. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Evan Little.
Thank you very much.
This is a request for action for landscaping to demolish the existing wood deck and wood fence, to replace the fence in the same footprint with a 6-foot tall wood privacy fence, and to install a new roof over a paver patio and wood stairs per the submitted plan. The following is taken from the December 2025 GVC hearing minutes. Commissioners expressed concern over the proposed height of the roof and potential interference with the gable on the second story. The proposed elements are not appropriate as they interfere with existing architecture. Commissioners recommended the applicant consider separating the structure from the house and constructing a freestanding pergola. Any proposed porch should not engage the masonry structure per the German Village guidelines. The applicant has provided additional information, including section details of how the roof would be tied to the existing structure, and has reduced the overall height of the roof by around 5 inches. HBO staff note that the connection of the roof to the flood portion of the second story is a critical detail, as that projection is a character-defining feature of the home. Staff recommends continuation of application COA 25-01241, 267 Reinhardt, to allow the applicant time to respond to commissioner feedback. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.11, Standards for Alterations, numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. City Code Section 3116.13, Standards for Site Improvements, A and B. And the German Village Guidelines for walks, sidewalks, driveways, patios, and parking lots. And the German Village Guidelines on fences and walls.
All right, anything else to add?
Just, we're trying to create a covered porch for a private space to use outside. Since I last saw you, did try to make a freestanding configuration work. Considered adding additional columns closer to the home like we talked about. The large French door coming off the living room, and the narrowness of the side yard, and the window configuration around where the roof addition is shown is just very constricting. So this is really the best layout that we've come up with that feels least intrusive to the home, most durable. We're not disturbing the foundation wall at all. We're able to pocket into only one masonry position and into the wood framing on the other side. And then we can also grab a hold of the wood framing above off the second floor. So I do have a summary letter in case you want to reference that, but it does go through the alternative designs that you had proposed last time and kind of how we thought through them.
All right, questions, comments from the commission?
Well, like stated last time, don't think it should be engaged with the flare shingle bottom of that upper story. And don't support this as an appropriate solution because of what you're doing to the existing architecture of the building. Shed roof below that, probably okay.
Yeah, just the pitch and getting it in there. And I mean, you want a ledger board all the way across the masonry right below that molding?
That would be up to you to propose. Not sure exactly what you're talking about.
Well, if you want a shed roof on there, you can see above that window. So I'm putting 1x10 or 2x10 ledger board there, and it's barely going to fit. The top of the roof is going to be pushed right up against the panel, and all the weather is going to sit right up against there anyways. I mean, we have tried that and looked at it.
Typically, shed roofs are what porch additions are in the village.
Yeah, I mean, we're not opposed to a shed roof. I'm just having trouble understanding that. We talked about it last time, and I threw out, are you looking for an Italianate styled flat roof? And I just got shoulder shrugs. So I need more direction to be able to put something together for you to actually do something with.
Well, flat roof, low slope would probably serve your purpose.
And you see that roof tying into that molding or sitting right below it. Yeah, so how are we going to flash in underneath that molding? There's just not much height above the window is what I'm trying to get to.
You'd have to address the height of that window. That is part of your problem. But look, that door, your back door there is so low that you'd have to work out something in between there or figure some solution. I'm not here to design it for you.
I'm not asking you to. I'm just pointing out that what you're asking for maybe isn't feasible and that this works. This offers the utility. It fits in with the aesthetic of the house.
That I disagree with respectfully.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
I do understand what you're saying about there not being enough height above that window. And I also get where you're shedding and creating kind of not the greatest situation with that roof. But I also think that maybe there are ways to detail that can get you where you need to be. And the proposed solution is interfering with the existing architecture quite a
Can you-
bit. So maybe if it's a lower slope, we could look at it maybe. But I agree, I think a pitched or a flat roof is really your best bet. I wonder if there's a way to detach the roof, and I'm not trying to design it for you, but if there's a way to detach the roof and create kind of maybe a gutter thing that it's not visible. I know
Yeah.
it's a little bit more messy, but it'll give you that clear space without kind of butting up against a roof situation.
Yeah, I was hoping to avoid a box gutter between a freestanding pergola, adding extra posts and creating a long-term problem in the future. Whereas this is a very robust install and will last much longer. And I think it will look great.
Just kind of off the record, what are you trying to accomplish here? What's the purpose of putting this roof here?
Like I said, it's just a covered space that is private for the resident to sit outside in a
So-
fenced-in
so
area.
Architecturally, you are relating it more to the height of your living room doors?
It's the kitchen window is part of why it's
So
the
what if
height.
you moved it more over the door and lowered it? And you had
The-
the window outside of it?
Are you talking about the door to the left of the roof? Well, the homeowner likes where it is, and that.
I'm just offering you,
Oh, how would that help? Moving it further
you
over.
could lower, you
could
could
lower
lower, if
it.
it's between the two windows, you've got a much lower door. The roof can be much lower down on the wall and clear everything above.
And you'll be okay with the ledger board just attaching to all that masonry along that wall?
We've let it happen before, and we've let people flash into the mortar joint across the top of that roof.
Okay.
How tall is that? Maybe it is listed in here.
Yeah, it's
It's
there.
pretty tall.
Very
It
tall,
could
yeah.
Very
easily-
tall.
So it could very well be lower.
And
And so
wider.
give you
It would,
a
it
nice
would,
outdoor covered space.
it would be a more elegant solution to do that. I think there's two options. You either move it over that other door or pull it entirely away from the house and slide it over to the fence line.
And how close to the fence line would you
Built.
be comfortable with like the edge of the roof out there?
So what's zoning gonna say about that?
From my opinion, I'm not, go with property line, I'm not against it. It's just what will zoning let you get away with.
Yeah,
Okay.
Would this be, if it's not attached to the house, that it's a freestanding structure, do they view it as more of a shed type thing? In which case they may let you get into that 3 foot, maybe not. I don't know.
We have only 39-inch right now to the fence.
It looks like right now the pergola is designed to set 3'8" to the face of the columns to the fence, to property line at least. I'm not sure where the fence is.
Yeah, it's trying to keep it out of the fire code.
Yep.
Can you, maybe the rest of the commission, remind me or add some clarification about the back to the right of the brick? addition, I'm assuming, okay. He covers up and extends that wall. He's covering up the gap, the gasket between the visible return of the historic versus that addition. Where he's proposing that,
It's covering the vertical
covering.
divide.
Yeah, we've lost the corner.
yeah, you've lost the corner. So with those additions, we try and notch them in around 4 to 8 inches. And with tying in right at that corner, you're losing the visual separation of the historic versus the new.
And it's all open, you're gonna see it below.
But aren't you doing,
It's just like a foot or two of where the eave is gonna be.
I thought you were putting a column
It'll
over there
be
as well.
pretty
Yeah.
clear as day, standing at Schiller Park, you'll be able to see the difference.
They're pocketing the beam into the
Okay.
framing.
Yeah.
I was reading the downspout.
Yeah, pushing, the shed is also gonna, now we're gonna have to have a drain out there for the gutter. Now we bring it back across where we have it now, we can tie into the existing drain line. And the hip is to help bring the pitch down and to capture more of the water and move it away from the house.
You're still pitching it to the west.
Sorry,
You're still pitching it to the west.
I'm just saying we're tying into the existing drain tile.
Anything we've suggested would prevent you from doing that.
I just have to have like a gable end on the shed and get a gutter all the way back to the house, or run a new gutter downspout at the gutter side of the shed roof and run it underneath the pavers. It's not as functional or durable, or
Done.
sure, it can be done, but I'm not trying to make things more complicated and more expensive.
I'm of the stance of we have not had new porches, pergolas, call whatever you will, attached to existing structures, specifically the masonry structures. That's been a common thing. Putting ledger boards on existing house, brick house, we've discouraged that as well in the past. My stance is if the desire doesn't fit the location, shoehorning it in does us no service. Not every site can have everything that everybody wants. So if we can't make this design work in the varying forms of roofs, of connection requirements, then maybe the design doesn't fit the site. That's where I'm at personally. Every property is unique.
Right, that was a long way down from almost approving it last time. It's very confusing. We almost approved it
I would disagree with
contingent
that.
upon
I would
how it
disagree
was
with that
fathomed.
statement very much.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do you want us to continue or?
Sorry?
Do you want us to continue it or?
Continue speaking about it? It
So
sounds pretty clear.
we got to take action on the application.
Okay, got
We can just drop it off the table and do nothing with it. We can vote on it as is and get an approval denial, or we can continue it, which keeps it on the agenda if you decide to
Continue,
come back.
please.
Continue?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mr. Sherman, on COA 2501241-267 Reinhardt Avenue, I move to continue.
Second.
Is there any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks. Moving on to item number 6, new application COA 2501368, which is 242 Lansing. Everybody's got 242 Lansing this time?
Yes.
Cool.
Now.
All right, let me get that pulled up.
It's number 4.
Here, 1 second, and then we'll make you put your hands up.
Number 4.
You guys good on your end?
Yes.
Okay, raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
All right, and your name?
Vincent Mariucci.
Thank you.
Jennifer Maurice.
Thank you.
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations to remove the existing Dutch lap wood siding and trim on home and install new James Hardy plank cedar mill siding of a 5-inch reveal in the color Booth Bay Blue and new James Hardy trim in the color Cobblestone. In 1992, the property received a COA to build a new addition on the north side of the home, as well as to replace windows and restore the existing siding. It appears that the addition was built with V-groove siding to delineate from the original home. The property received a COA in 2019 to repair/replace existing wood siding and trim. The current owner was recently approved for window replacements in 2023, with new trim being installed as well. HBO staff conducted a site visit on January 8th. Staff noted that the siding on the side elevations is still in good conditions with minor replacements needed. Some boards appear to be checking, but after further evaluation, it appears that it may be a service issue of cracking paint. The front elevation, on the other hand, has mostly been replaced with new wood Dutch lap siding over time. We informed the owner that our office would recommend repair or replace in like kind, and noted that the current trim installed on the home did not have a drip edge piece installed above the top casing board, which typically is tucked underneath the bottom of the siding to seal the top flat edge of the casing and create proper water runoff. This could cause an area for moisture to travel behind the casing and cause deterioration of the siding. Additionally, we informed the owner that the commission has not recently been in favor of hardyboard products for the main historic property, since it has not aged well and has had a tendency to warp and bow, and that the commission has seen other products proposed, such as Boral and LP Smart siding for cementitious material. Staff recommends approval of application COA 2501368, 242 Lansing Street, with the following conditions: to replace the front elevation with new wood Dutch lap siding to match the size and profile of the existing, and to maintain the historic Dutch lap siding on the side elevations and use sound material from the front elevation for any repairs needed on the side, or repair/replace with new Dutch lap siding to match. The basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, Standards for Alteration, numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Anything else to add?
No.
Questions, comments from the commission?
Sophie, when you went on your site visit, is the siding on the original building historic, or was it replaced at some time? I know it's two different styles.
Yes, I was not at the site visit. I was not here at that point, but in talking with Morgan Graff, who was on that site visit, I think that the two side elevations of the home seem to be historic wooden siding, but the front elevation was mostly replacement.
Does the profile on those three sides match?
I believe so, as best as new wood siding can match.
Why you feel that the siding needs to be replaced?
Sure. Yeah. So when we had gotten the new windows and they had taken the trim off, the contractor at the time noted that, this siding's really rotten under here, which it was, right? I went out and I inspected it. And so you can see how many, the windows take up the majority of the walls of the home. And so, at least 2/3 of it or what have you would basically be in need of replacement at this point, with some additional, in between the windows, you can see that there's some planks, yeah, there you go, that don't look so fresh themselves. And so the home also is in need of repainting at this point. And so rather than try to repaint a lot of what's there that, could be rotting or otherwise not hold paint very well, we thought it might be an appropriate time to go ahead and do a full replacement.
Okay, so if you had requested just to paint the house,
Yeah,
the stipulation on that would have been a staff approval and that you would to replace all rotted siding, not a full replacement, but replace all the bad stuff,
yeah,
which would be more economical for you with like material. At that point, you're missing flashings over your heading trims, which
Yeah.
would help. You had that installed and some other installation techniques that probably could be improved. I support not replacing all the siding and certainly not replacing all the siding the same profile because you've got two different profiles from what I saw in the pictures.
we do.
So the addition would have to be one profile if we approved it and how probably match the existing profiles. But going back to it, I think you should just be asking for painting approval with all requirements of replacing deteriorated siding, trims, etc. And that will be less expensive than replacing it all.
Okay. We got a quote from a contractor to do wood and it was 20,000 more than the Hardy.
Complete.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
but I can try to find a contractor to come out and replace the majority of it. I don't feel like it's gonna ultimately save me money,
How much do you think needs to be replaced?
80%.
Really?
Yeah,
That doesn't seem to be what staff's professional opinion was. So I think there's a disconnect there. If you believe it is 80%, we're going to need to see evidence of it being at 80%. Looking at the photos, there's some repairs necessary, but from the photos it looks sound. If the rot's happening behind your window trim, we can approve pulling off the window trim so you can take photos and evidence of what's back there.
I mean, did you take photos during?
not at that time, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the evidence you'd be looking for is if we took some window trim off and showed the rot behind there, what other kinds of evidence would you be looking for?
So that's the primary evidence, showing us that there is more to be removed and replaced than there would be
To salvage.
Yeah.
And just because the tail end of a piece of siding is rotted doesn't mean the whole board's got to come off. You can cut and patch in as well.
From stud to stud, yeah.
And when you say that the rot, is that just on the one facade or is that every single window opening on all three facades?
All the windows.
Because from the photos, what it looks like is just looks like an old house with siding that needs to be painted.
It needs to be painted, I'm sorry, but yeah, I believe you. But I think that's what we would need from you guys.
Okay.
Somebody with credentials saying, hey, this is more than 50% of the siding or all the siding above a certain point needs to go, or some better description of what needs to be replaced.
Okay, I think we can get that in the report, sure.
I don't think a contractor is removed enough from the work to be a reliable source for that. But possibly somebody that wouldn't be doing the work, like a housing inspector, could give you maybe a better purview on what the work needs to be.
Okay,
Okay.
so if we had their opinion in the report, that would be sufficient.
If it's supported what you're asking for, yeah.
Well, okay, right, sure. And what percentage, if it was over 50, over 60?
It depends on from what point. You know, hey, the lower 8 feet from the top of the windows down is good. The top part needs to be replaced, whatever whatever
Well,
the
the-
description of the work needs to be.
The bottom 4 feet or so are replacements. They have been replaced at some point for
Yeah,
sure
okay.
already.
You think they're still good? They think they need to be replaced again?
Some are fine, some are not.
Yeah,
Some are
but
split.
that's kind of more what we need.
Okay,
A better idea what the scope is.
Okay.
That'll give you a better idea what you're buying,
And then if we
Get it.
get to the point of saying, yes, we're going to replace it all, if we get to that point, then the question of what goes on is on the table. And as staff mentioned, we've done test cases of hardy board lap siding throughout the village. And every case we have tested specifically on historic structures has not been, did not perform to expectations. At a certain point, we were still allowing test cases on auxiliary structures, not principal historic structures. And even in those, we were seeing poor results over time. The big issue on the principal structures, primary structures, is these houses aren't perfectly straight and true. And with the hardy material, it translates all that waviness out. It doesn't act like wood acts. So a wood board would not transit all that through, kind of smooth out all that waviness of the studs, but the hardy board just amplifies it. So it doesn't act like the way wood siding should act in a historic structure. That's why we have gone away from hardy siding, but Boral has performed, LP Smart siding has performed similar to how wood would perform in that location.
But there was that new version.
There's a new version of hardy that's out there. I don't know if it's in plank strip siding profiles. Is it?
Yeah.
That would be something to look for. I think it's like the Artisan series or something.
Yeah, we saw it for a conceptual at one point.
Yeah. I know we saw on Mr. Hours' property in a
Yes.
vertical application. So if you go in for hardy, it's that next tier up, not the economic tier of siding. It's a stronger material.
okay. Can I ask the test houses that used hardy, was it nailed to the studs or was it nailed to subwall?
Couldn't tell you. We require that they follow the manufacturer's installation
Okay,
requirements.
Some of the new, specifically garages that we had, that first came up,
Mhm.
we asked for plywood backing. And it got rid of the waving vertically, but they developed issues got rid of the waving horizontally,
Mhm.
they developed issues vertically.
Started kind of buckle.
And peeling and breaking off. Just the material started falling apart.
Okay.
So that was when we decided we weren't going to approve typical hardy board lap siding on even ancillary buildings, new ancillary buildings.
Okay.
But we're open to other materials. If you find something else out there in the market that we haven't seen before, we're open to looking at it.
Well, yeah, I mean, my contractor can use the, starts with a B.
Or
Like he can order that. It is a lot more expensive, so we would not go that route if that was your, ruling on this. We would do something else. But we had planned to clad the house with subwall. We know that there is no subwall there right now, that this is nailed to the studs, and we know that Hardy does not approve of that as a installation method. So that was in the quote to add subwall to the
that would
stud.
affect all your trims and your doors and everything, you'd have to be
Yes,
extended out.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So action we can take today, since we need more information to take any forward movement.
Yeah.
We can continue the application, which will keep you on the agenda for next month.
Sure, please.
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2501368 Lansing Street, I move to continue.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. And there will be a deadline that staff can get you as far as the timeframe.
Okay. Thank you.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Yes.
Great. All right, moving ahead on to item number 7. COA 2501-381-736 South Fifth Street. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Camden Primer.
Thank you.
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations to an entry door to replace the existing wood front door with new smooth 2-panel fiberglass entry door per the submitted documentation, and to install a new Spectrum Series storm door on the exterior of the entry door. This is an amendment to a previously approved application from November 2025, which was COA 2500981. The applicant is now proposing to replace the front door with a new smooth 2-panel fiberglass entry door rather than the previously approved 4-panel fiberglass entry door. Staff note that the style of the door proposed is not appropriate as proposed, but could be appropriate if the top panel was glass rather than the solid fiberglass panel. Staff recommends approval of application COA 25-01381 at 736 South 5th Street with the following conditions: that the upper panel of the proposed replacement door is replaced with glass, or the application is amended to propose an appropriate door style per the German Village guidelines for door replacement. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, standards for alteration 2456, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and the German Village guidelines for door replacement.
Thank you. Before we offer it up to you, one question just for clarification of fact.
Yes.
Existing door, is that wood or is it fiberglass?
It's fiberglass.
It's fiberglass.
Mhm.
That was in the written statement
Yeah.
that they submitted in the application.
We do have an application on file for this door to be refinished
Okay.
from 2023. So
All right.
that's what led us to believe it was wood.
Sure. Understood.
Yes.
So if that becomes a point of contention, we can get follow-up material to confirm
Yeah.
what that is. But if we don't think it's a point of contention, we can proceed forward with what's proposed.
Yeah, and I know the commission were in support of replacing the door because it's not original.
Sure. I just want to make sure we are
Application.
factually accurate.
Yes.
Floor is yours. Anything else to add?
Yeah, the reason they didn't go forward with the prior submitted COA was because there was a note that the transom was to remain. Contractor was not aware that that was the case. So the door that was approved was a pre-hung door that you couldn't replace the entire thing because the transom's connected.
Yep.
So the frame that has been using this, that is through Provia. You can just put the door itself in there. The frame itself is attached to the jambs. That way we don't have to touch anything on the outside, anything with the transom there. But with that, with the sizes of it, there's only 2 options that we are allowed to do in the fiberglass. One, which is our proposed here, and then there's a secondary option that has some type of glass in it. But that is the reason for the 2 design styles, excuse me.
Question, comments from the commission?
So are you proposing the steel door as another option?
That's a third option if need be. I know since it's on the front of a house, steel doors aren't very they're frowned upon. But that's if it came down to it, that's another option we could do, but it would not be fiberglass.
If you're doing a solid panel door, it should be 4 panels and not 2. That's what the guidelines call for.
I've asked through Provia, and then the prior door was a Therma-Tru door, and that was the 4 panel. But like I said, Therma-Tru doesn't have anything that would allow just the door to be changed without touching the transom. So these are our only 2 design options that we were able to land on.
Is this a abnormally sized door?
The door that is there currently is standard 32 by 80.
Sure.
But because this new frame is inside that current jam, it's, I believe, 1/4 of an inch thinner. So it's custom size there.
I only ask because we've had applications before us to replace front doors and transoms, and we've declined to allow the transom to be replaced, and they just replaced the slab of the door, and they were able to provide appropriate doors for panels.
Gotcha.
So I'm questioning, is it just a matter of didn't find one, or is it a matter of there are none out there and something is up?
Yeah, the two door companies we carry, obviously we have pellet doors, but we can carry Thermidor and Provia. I called both of them. They do not sell just slabs themselves. We aren't able to do that and install that.
Gotcha.
So this is why we landed on this solution.
So it's your supplier.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
And you're installing a subframe?
Yes, it's called the steel L frame. So there is a frame around the door. It's very thin though, and it sits inside the jambs. So nothing on the exterior needs touched.
Okay, okay. Whereas if you went, and this is probably not your product, just a leaf that mounted to the existing frame, that's not something that you would be providing, therefore you haven't applied for that.
Yes,
Okay.
we're not able to do that or install.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Reluctantly, that is the correct solution.
Question, I mean, the other question for the commission is, with the door that's there existing currently
Is it too?
being of this style with glass, is what's proposed appropriate any worse off than what is there currently, is the question for the commission.
He's not proposing a glass door.
Yeah, it's just solid door.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which without the glass is more provincial French than German village historical, so.
I believe, and again, I this is just from what the homeowners told me, but the previous homeowners they talked to, they said that door was replaced in 2011. And looking, I think the transom was replaced at that time as well, just because it's not recessed like typical other houses are.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, but
I would say that if you can provide evidence that it is not, if the photos we have, not great. Let's say page 5, looking at the interior, the top left. Can't quite tell because the shadows and the grainness of the photo, if that is the proper proportions of a historic transom. The transoms that we have historic are pretty standard in their dimensions. If this is something where there is no bottom piece of that transom window and the glass just goes down to the meeting rail, lack of architectural terms here, but if it's not a proper dimensional transom, then that opens up the question of, if it's not a historic transom window, do we need to save it, or do we view it as it's not appropriate and it can come out?
okay.
So that could be a path forward if we can prove that is not a historically accurate transom. We would still want a transom to go back because it would have had transom historically.
Of course.
But then we got to look at what products are available for that.
For sure.
I would posit it's not an historic transom because it should be in the same plane as the door. And this one is forward.
That's what our order verifier, he said the same thing.
Yeah.
Just because it's not recessed like.
Yeah, it should be in the same plane as the door.
Yeah.
So I'd say if we can just get some photos, get tape measure up there to kind of show how this thing actually sits versus just looking at a photo, which doesn't really tell us the story.
Okay.
And if that's the case, if you want to, we can continue. So you can do that investigation, come back with a door of appropriate style with a transom that could be a replacement of the entire thing.
What's inside the existing frame?
Yeah. Then we can look at that.
Gotcha. So just to clarify everything, if you can show that the transom was replaced at some point, and then also the 4-panel, like prior approved COA, then we could do both transom and door, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome.
Cool. So we'd like us to continue the application?
Yes, please.
All right. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, on COA 2501381 736 South Fifth Street, I move to continue.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item number 8. Yep. COA 26000019, 151 Jackson. And once you're settled, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, not the truth?
I do.
And your name?
Good afternoon, Your Honours. My name is Zach Atkinson.
Thank you.
I'm the owner of 151 Jackson.
Great, thank you. Sophie?
This is a request for action for exterior building alterations and landscaping to remove the existing shutters and window boxes from the facade of the home, to install new window trim to previously shuttered windows and repair/replace existing window trim as needed, to install planting beds along the fence lines, and to legitimize existing fence that was installed between 2007 to 2009 per map data. This application is in response to a code violation regarding the removal of the shutters and window boxes, the installation of a new privacy fence, replacement/installation of window trim, and the installation of planting beds and hardscaping along the fence line. Staff note that the window trim has been installed on the front installed on the front of the home appears to be larger than the original trim on the gable window, and the rest does not appear to match the historic profiles per the historic photographs provided by the applicant. The code violation noted the installation of a new privacy fence. However, upon review of the application materials, it appears that the privacy fence was simply modified to be an appropriate style per the German Village guidelines on fences and walls. Staff recommends continuation of application COA 26000019 to allow the applicant time to amend their application to be more consistent with the German Village guidelines and city code. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.11, standards for alteration, numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12, standards for site improvements, A and B, the German Village guidelines for ornamentation, and the German Village guidelines for fences and walls, and the German Village guidelines on walks, sidewalks, driveways, patios, and parking lots.
Anything else to add?
Yes, first of all, thank you for letting me have this time to speak to you. Some of the work has obviously was already done in 22 when I had my COAs approved for some of the work. From that, I did go to the library and the German Village Society at the time to do a ton of like in-depth research of the area. I'm very much I'm from Britain, so originally, and you know, everything is historical there. So I always love to keep things in keeping with the neighborhood. And working with the historical person at the library, we managed to get some historical photos of the building. Just of it having none of the shutters, which were plastic, and also the planter boxes, which at the time of my application in 22 were rotting, and I advised that I would remove them and not replace them. With regards to the hardscaping across the fence lining, that was I had a photograph which I saw from the historical the historical bulletin, which showed a bush line that came down. It's in this one. So I wanted to recreate that, as well as also beautify that part of my property. And also with regards to the fence panel on that side, that was there before I bought the home. I believe if I did apply for an application when I repainted the fence and that, which I replaced some of the rotting wood panels there. So I didn't understand that maybe, again, the fence panel was there before I bought the home. And with regards to the trim around the windows, that again was through my research with the German Village Society and the library. I also walked around the neighborhood looking at buildings that are around the same style as mine and the age. And that's where I recreated those trim panels. I did use elm as well because I did note at the time that understanding some hardwoods do warp, but it was mainly to have the character of the home back to like with its historical vision or look, I should say. And that was, thank you.
Sure, thank you. Well, I would say applaud your efforts on the historical information. It's fantastic. Your house has a great story through the record archive.
Thank you, yeah.
For the commission, to make things, I think, simple, I think what we have is the landscaping. I don't think anybody has an issue with the landscaping that's been installed, so we can just deal with that, take that one off. The fence, the documentation shows that a fence was there at that height. It looks like as it exists now with the homeowner's work, he's cut it flat, which is more appropriate in keeping with our guidelines.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. So I had actually spoken to one of the city workers at the time, and she actually told me that those rising butt, those are not. So I did actually cut them down to be more appropriate within the guidelines.
The fence we're talking about is the fence, the privacy.
No,
fence.
it's the privacy fence on the alleyway side. Yeah, and I have
Yeah, this.
The white one way in the back.
Yeah.
yes,
that's
correct.
Just to be clear.
So
And I do understand there is a photograph from, I believe, the late 70s of it having a chain link around it, but that obviously wasn't original because it still has the original.
The fact that the fence was there at the height that is before you bought the property, it's fine. We're not going to make you take that fence down.
This has been there as long as I can remember.
Cutting it flat across the top was the right thing to do, so
Right.
no issues there. The window box is coming off. I don't think anybody's any hurry about that. The shutters coming off, they're faux shutters. They're not true operable shutters. We typically like to see those come off, and once they're off, they stay off. So we have no issues with that.
Just sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Those trims as well were on the house originally when I bought it as well. So I was also mimicking that. I understand that was an extension I did like forever.
Which running trims did you change?
The ones around the window to the right of the door, above the front door.
That one?
Yes, and then on the 4th Street side as well.
Okay. And do they match?
Correct.
the others?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I think
I know the magnolia tree finds it in a little.
in the way.
Traditionally, the trim that we would typically see on windows, which is in the guidelines, shows the piece across the top being a little proud of the verticals, and then the sill would extend out. What's there now?
Sill does extend out. Yes.
You mean the side?
Yeah, the sill extends
Yeah.
out for the bottom. Yes.
Just the header piece seems to be
A little short.
squared off.
It looks like it's that way on all of them.
Yeah.
It was, and on the windows at the back L of the home, they were already squared off as well, and there are more windows like that on the home.
Looks like if you go to page 5 of the application, which is the older photos, looks like the trim is almost non-existent back then.
And I believe when I spoke to the historian, he said when they probably would have replaced the siding back in those days, they would have removed it and not put it back. I mean, it's got that horrible air
Do you know
conditioning.
if the siding in that picture is aluminum siding?
I beg your pardon?
Do you know if that's aluminum siding?
I don't know, I'm afraid.
And that's typical aluminum siding solution.
Yeah, from the pictures, there's a couple different styles of trim. So I think that
And the home opposite me does also have square.
But even on page 7, there's a old photo and the top is squared off.
Correct, yeah. The one from
It's very strange.
that one, the bottom left.
Sorry.
And the top one is squared off as well.
Yeah.
Or had a transom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so it doesn't match.
It's
the-
it's yeah, it's so the door is still original, but yeah, there is no transom
Right now.
above it.
Like buried in the framing inside the wall.
Probably still there.
I maybe so.
So I would say, so for the commission, the question really comes down to the trim that's on the windows. Is that the appropriate trim for this house? Do we have any issues with what's been done? And if not, do we vote on what is there?
My opinion is the trim may not match what the guidelines say, but using the existing trim as a point of departure for determining replacement, I think that's okay.
I agree with that.
I'd agree too.
No problem.
Mhm.
All right. If there are no issues with it, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, on item COA 26000019 Jackson Street, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Is there any questions on the motion? I would just make the clarification for the record that the work was done to try to find the historic provenance of the house and trying to get back to a more historic effort, which we commend. So there's no questions, and we'll take the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you, Your Honours.
Thank you so
Before I
much.
leave as well, if I'm still continually like searching history of this home because it is a pre-Civil War schoolhouse from that area, and I don't think there are many left. So if you have any recommendations of people in the city or any other historical societies that have any information or images, because I can only go as far as my own journalism.
Yeah, it's the library, HPO staff, Durham Village Society's archives, and then there may be some stuff up at Ohio History up at on 71.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Just another word before you go, Zach. A lot of this could have been staff approved. Follow procedure.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 9, conceptual application, COA 2501364, 285 East Beck Street. Anybody here for 285? There we go.
Good evening.
Good evening. Once you're both settled, if you raise your right hands, one each. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Your name, sir?
Robert Behrens.
Thank you.
Richard Taylor.
Thank you. Sophie?
This is a conceptual application for new construction to reconstruct an existing dilapidated one-story building in its current location and to construct a connector between the two structures on the property. The applicant is proposing to reconstruct the existing dilapidated one-story building at the rear of the property and connect that building to the main home. The single-story building currently has an unsafe building order issued. The connector and reconstructed building are proposed to have a standing seam metal roof in the color dove gray and a hardy lap siding with a Columbus buff limestone foundation are proposed for the exterior finishes of the build. The proposed connector would not be visible from the street. HBO staff note that the demolition plan would be helpful to illustrate the openings that will be disturbed by this construction. Staff recommendation is staff recommends the commission give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at future hearing. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.12, Standards for New Construction, A, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N, and the German Village Guidelines for alterations to existing structures, additions, and connectors.
All right. Anything else to add?
Yeah, I'll just add, thanks for letting us do another conceptual review here. Last time, the big issues that we talked about before we had these more detailed drawings was what were we going to do with the shed? Where was it going to be moved to? If moved, how are we going to connect it? And what we decided to do is leave it pretty much where it is. Last time we had talked about moving it forward. It's not quite square to the house, so when we replace the foundation, which we talked about before, we're just going to square it up by, a half a degree or whatever it is to make it straight with the house. And then put the new connector piece between the two of them. We had talked about the siding a little bit, and of course, my issue, I have two issues with the siding. The first is It's in pretty bad shape, as is the construction it's attached to. I say attached with quotes. And the second is because on both sides of that, we're within that 5-foot property line alignment. We're going to have to fire rate the two sidewalls of the house. So we had talked last time about products to use for that. I know you don't like this stuff at all, Thin Hardy. Hardy has a 5/8 siding clapboard product, their artisan. And between the time that I turned the application in now, True Exterior has come out with a clapboard, which is the fly ash product, which is, I prefer this. So I would like to have the option to use either one of those two for siding the areas, siding the addition and the connector on that, which will give us the fire rating that we need. Somebody had brought up the possibility of using intuminescent paint. Looked into that, used that before. It works on overhangs and things like that. It really doesn't give us the fire rating that we need for the sidewalls. And it's not particularly good product anyway. So, so that's kind of where I am on that. You asked about in the staff comments, the existing openings. I did not bring something to show the openings that are being changed, but on the existing house, we are going to be covering up both of the openings on the back of the existing house on the first floor. And then on the shed, we're going to lose, I think, one opening or two openings, the two on the left side of that bottom photograph there. And when we come back with the full application, I'll show all of that in detail. Foundation, we talked last time and you weren't particularly concerned with the foundation material that we used on that. We talked about a bunch of different options. The product right there that I mentioned is a pretty close match to what's on the house right now. And I think by the time we do the sloppy mortar on it, we'll have a really good match with the existing foundation. So really the only big question I have, other than hearing your thoughts on this, is the condition of the building is pretty awful, and happy to provide at some later date some detailed information about that. Would it be possible, rather than repairing this, to just rebuild it exactly as it is now with all new materials inside and out? We're going to take the whole floor deck out and replace that because it's completely shot. The foundation's shot. The roof is sagging, on and on and on.
So just to interrupt.
I'm done.
So when you talk, okay, so when it says here, reconstruct an existing dilapidated one-story building in its current location. I took that to mean you were demolishing that building and rebuilding it a duplicate.
So if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
You got to prove to us that the building is that bad.
Sure.
That's going to change your your windows on the property line side. They have to go away.
I'm allowed to have 25% openings on a fire rated wall, and we're within that.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. That close to the property line.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. In fact, on the new addition on the east side, I've got two windows there, and I'm just under 25%.
Okay. All right. I'm just bringing it up.
Yep.
I would make a note that if we get to the point of saying that we're okay with a replication of what's there, exact replication includes chimneys, both. Looks like there's two, one on each end. So it needs to be a full, faithful replication as much as we can get back.
Robert pointed out to me that I neglected to show the second chimney on these drawings, so you caught that already, so good.
Which is the better of the two, because it's still fully intact versus chopped off.
Yeah.
I guess the question for the commission is what guidance can we give the applicant for proving the case of taking this down and completely rebuilding it brand new in kind?
That structurally, it's not salvageable. The foundation's not salvageable. It needs to be replaced.
Would that also be the structure, the frame structure itself is
Yeah,
not
that's what I'm talking
repairable.
about.
Right.
Not the envelope, but the frame structure. And it's so far gone.
That's my opinion. You know, we can see some of the framing, not all of it, because there is some plaster on the inside.
How much can you not see?
Well, we can see most of the roof construction, not much of the walls, and there's enough holes in the floor that we can see the floor condition, which is pretty bad. And there's, you can see from the outside, not prominent in these
Yeah,
photos,
probably
but
should go take a look.
yeah, the sill is shot.
Would the issuance of that unsafe building order be sufficient? When I was looking on the portal for other things that were related to this address, I found an unsafe building order that was issued for the property. I think 2023.
I think there's two, I'd be wrong here, but I believe there's two tiers. You have unsafe building and then you have a demolition order.
Yes.
So if it's unsafe, in theory, could be repaired.
Yeah, it can't be occupied, but it can be repaired.
Yeah, so he's got to prove
Okay.
that it can't feasibly be repaired.
Okay.
A demolition
Just
order
wanted to
would
double-check.
trump all of it, which has happened in.
I would say that I mean, obviously, we started this with the idea that we were going to repair it. It would be great to have the option. So if we can repair it, we will. If it turns out as we investigate further during construction that it can't be, then, I mean, we're going to rebuild the whole floor deck anyway, so.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to if it can't be repaired, got to come back to us and let us know and tell us. It's not just that
Absolutely.
you get both options and choose your own
Okay,
adventure.
but I'd have to know ahead of time that I could, so. Even though it's not official approval yet.
Another comment I have showing your site plan that you gave, you're showing over 50% lot coverage. Generally, when we allow more than 50%, it's due to a hardship. In this case, the connector is what's driving the extra percentage. So it feels like it's design driving it versus necessity. So I'd take a look at that.
Lot coverage just includes the buildings, not the paving, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're over 50% without the connector, but I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Yeah, I was just looking at
That's a good point.
at your site data at the bottom. It says lot coverage building only 51%. So I don't know if that's the new configuration or the existing because it's on the new configuration drawing floor plan.
I'll check on that.
So if you make it a foot shallower, you might be under the 50%.
But if you're already 51%, if that's the case, then it's we got to talk about what is appropriate,
Okay.
which will affect the design of that connector. For the commission, feedback on the roof of the connector. Is that an appropriate connection?
It's existing roof on the shed.
It's metal roof on the shed now.
It's AP roofing.
We've had additions with metal roofs before.
The question is if we're combining two structures, should the connector roof extend that much over current roof?
No.
Or is there a better design option for the connection?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think you can only see it in the one view, but where it connects to the existing building in the back, it's also really close to the window. So I think the connection may be a little bit taller than it needs to be. So you might want to look at how it connects. I have concerns.
Where it connects to the two-story house?
Yeah, if you look at your
Probably one of the perspective views might show that.
northwest view. Yeah, that looks like it's getting pretty close to that window, the second story window.
I'll look at that. Thank you.
And at least for me personally, it would be nice to have a differentiation between the existing structures and the connector in terms of color or even the siding. Yeah, just to show that that isn't original. Even though, even if you end up rebuilding, you're building it back to what it was. So I would still consider that to be more original, but the connector is a new piece.
Okay.
Would you want a siding material differentiation, color, profile, orientation?
Yeah, something,
above?
yeah, propose what you think would
Okay.
differentiate it
Yeah, we
from.
can get this in a couple of different configurations. So.
I would say it doesn't need to be matchy. It can
Yeah.
be more modern design, more contemporary design of a connector, as long as it's compatible with the existing architecture.
So the existing shed building, what's the siding on it? I assume you're gonna match that if you're gonna duplicate it.
Can you zoom
Flat
any
siding?
further on that?
So the connector needs to be a different siding material. It's like the shed is a wider exposure than the house.
Well, the house is artificial siding, so.
And then as part of
But that's just clapboards.
residing, little vertical piece, I think we posited last time that that was a potentially open area of this in the past. So a little vertical piece would be contributing detail.
Okay.
So you don't just, if we're talking about replicate as is, replicate all the parts and pieces. Match profiles, match dimensions, etc.
Expensive restoration.
Rebuild. Any other questions or comments?
You okay with that?
Good, I'll be interested to see what you find out about the existing structure.
Anything else you need to ask us?
That's all I had today.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No action needed, as that was a conceptual. Moving on to item number 10, COA 2600018, South Grant Street. Once you're settled, if you'll both raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and but the truth?
Yes.
All right, your name, sir?
Andy,
Thank you.
Russ,
Thank you.
Dominic Lupino.
Thank you.
This is a conceptual application for demolition and new construction to remove the existing sunroom to accommodate a new two-story addition, to build a new second-story addition above the existing one-story portion of the home, to remove the existing brick chimney and flue stack from the east elevation of the two-story portion of the home, to install a new third-floor dormer on the south elevation of the home, and to replace existing shutters on the front elevation. The following is taken from the January 2026 GVC meeting minutes. Commissioners stated that they do not allow the demolition of chimneys, and the applicant must keep the chimney and maintain the portion above the roof, as well as areas that would be visible in the gable section that is not being covered up by the proposed addition. Commissioners will need more information on what is being removed in the rear gable portion, as well as what is staying and would be visible above the proposed addition roofline. Commissioners stated that since the applicant is proposing to demo the sunroom, they would need to evaluate the demolition of the sunroom existing and see if it was considered original or significant to the property. Commissioners stated that the addition appears more complex architecturally than the existing historic structure, which includes the materials, massing, roof pitch, as well as height. The height of the addition should be less dominant than the original roof and structure. They recommend making the addition simpler and propose a shallow roof pitch, maybe down to the other addition height. The commissioners stated that the proposed dormer location is fine and similar to others that the commission has seen before, but the dormer roof connection would need to be at least a foot beneath the ridge of the main roof. The commission requested staff to include COAs for the property as well as Sanborn maps to evaluate the rear additions when the applicant comes back for review. According to the 1901 and 1921 to 1951 Sanborn maps, the property had two single-story additions on the rear of the home that appear to be similar in sizing and configuration as to what is currently there. The property was approved in 1981 to install gold vinyl siding with white trim to cover up the previously installed insel brick with whiteboard and batten to be added to part of the first floor on the south and north side to match the existing board and batten. HBO staff recommends that the commission first evaluate if the existing single-story additions are the ones depicted in the 1901 Sanborn maps, and if they are still considering contributing to the main structure. Staff notes that there are no COAs on file for the construction of or any alterations to the sunroom, and have included the Sanborn maps in the material packet. Staff recommends the commission give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future hearing. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.12, standards for new construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, I, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N. City Code Section 3116.11, standards for alterations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The German Village Guidelines for alterations to existing structures additions, and the German Village Guidelines for dormers and skylights.
All right, anything else to add?
Yeah, I've seen the original design concept up there, not the revised ones.
I did not receive a revised drawing packet as far as I'm aware. I don't think a revised drawing packet uploaded to the portal.
I was gonna ask.
I uploaded these to the application.
When were they uploaded?
Yeah,
In
on
January?
the January 9th.
There was only new photographs when I went onto the portal to download things.
1, 2.
Well, what?
We can try and pull it up, see if it's uploaded properly. We were having issues with the portal around that time.
Make a request real quick then. If we got to take time to pull something down, take a quick
Yes.
5-minute break so we can get that information pulled up and prepared.
I do have a copy if you
Perfect.
would like to see it.
I want to make
know
sure we
I
get it
don't-
up there for the.
Okay.
whatnots.
You get
So
up there.
just take 5 minutes. We'll find the documentation.
That's fine.
We'll go. So recess for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh. Yes.
Actually, in the original package, I couldn't even open it. So I slipped. It was me. I was.
Yeah, I didn't see
Better.
any new ones.
Window box.
But this one is included though. Yeah.
My notes right here was, what is this all about? That's what I'm thinking.
I couldn't hear it.
Somebody's just pissed off.
Oh, it's so
No. Yeah, I agree. Somebody's, these places.
He
Doing search.
Did you work from home last week?
For any bad reasons?
I don't. I still don't have my car dug out.
So full.
Our street is so bad and for my last car, the model wasn't available all-wheel drive. I've always had all-wheel drive and his gets stuck everywhere, so.
Want some hot water and pour it
Well, the concern is the streets in German Village are so bad. If I dig out of the parking space, I'll get stuck,
Yeah, somewhere.
somewhere else. But the roads have melted enough now that I think I can dig it out.
But you're close enough to walk, right?
Yeah. Mhm. I can walk to the office, I can get to a grocery store. So, it's just cold. Yeah, but today felt fun. Yeah, comparison.
But the sidewalk were mostly shoveled.
Yeah.
That's,
It's
that would
just
be,
across
that
the
was, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, 4 items of intersection,
Yeah.
it's like miles now.
And maybe just.
I think it's all gonna melt next week.
Maybe, they might, like, something might be missed, you might catch something that.
No.
But I feel like.
Yeah, the whole time out.
That's the
Or like the
Little
use
exercise.
of the snow.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a max limit?
Uh,
I remember when my
they
kids were. I
actually-
thought it was.
Was it a while ago?
They actually sent us an email following up on that. It doesn't, they were fine.
They,
like,
they
even
Yeah.
replaced all the windows with.
I can't remember the
Different
reasoning.
crew.
That's wrong.
Tried.
So we went, send the daycare and send
Yeah,
the grandparents
You
like,
like it.
into this. And
A couple of people in our office said, I don't understand it. They close it for the extreme cold, but the kids are outside playing all day.
I thought it would be like a delayed reaction because that's
Yeah.
what usually they say that. Oh,
It was
cold
the-
enough.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 2 hours later.
Okay.
it's fine. No, it was just.
Oh,
I think our school district opened on Thursday, so we're really close to this.
Yeah, I did.
My kids are in Punch.
4 days.
4 days.
Sorry.
4 days without water.
Yeah. But my kids aren't, I mean, they're out of the school system, so. But I have friends whose kids are in it.
I'm
Oh, thank God, they're in school today.
I'm just watching bills, but then.
I'm just glad I got carpal tunnel, am I right? I am now.
So how did you do that?
That mouse.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Mine is gonna.
Yeah.
And then you came the message.
Yeah.
We'll confirm if we have to.
Did we find him?
It was a place that just was not working. Unfortunately, the
Sure.
Well, why would it be any other day? We
There
can,
is-
we can share.
Is it 2 sets or is that just 1 set?
I'm afraid I just have the one set. I'm sorry.
Give us a moment to.
Sure.
each of us take a
To
look.
parse. Yeah, 'cause-
All right, so we're back on the record. We're going to take a couple minutes here to pass the papers down so the commissioners can review it, and then we will invite
If you'd
discussion.
like, I would like to talk about the issue with
Sure,
the history.
let's go ahead.
Not sure which exact map you were looking at. This is the one from, it was labeled as 1921 to 1950 or something like that.
Which
The,
should be page 7.
Sanborn Fire
And this-
maps.
Same one, just not colored. Should be the same.
No, that one's a little, yeah, probably is. So it shows the house basically in 3 sections, right? The street is a 2-story. The middle is a 1-story as well as the rear. I agree with what they show there, except for that rear one. That's not what's there now, that profile. I'm suggesting that there was something there that was deeper and narrower before than what is there now, which is the shed sun room, which was done at a later date.
So on the map, the right and top sides.
Correct.
East, north, whatever the direction it is. Those sides being dashed would mean that they were open. This is probably a porch of some sort or a lean-to of some sort.
Okay.
So what we've seen a lot of times over time is that those sides will get enclosed or they'll extend out because it's open and close it. So what we would be looking for is some kind of evidence. If you can get into the wall, see what kind of wood is there. You may find that that left side is original and then the other sides are new. We just need to understand kind of what is historic, what is not.
I understand. I'm just saying that the existing sunroom there now is not as deep as that outline, and it's wider. It's flush with the house.
And doesn't it
The rear
seem like a
part.
plywood?
Also, the foundation is quite different.
That's another telling sign. If it's a different foundation of the first two,
Right.
it's a poured foundation, it's concrete, it might not be the same. Typically, the older styles would have been stacked or rubble foundations.
It is, right.
Or no foundations.
Right. It's like an 18-inch thick stacked rubble foundation on the house, the first 2 sections. The rear sunroom now currently has what looks like cinder block.
I mean, did the staff find any HOA approved for the rear structure?
No, we didn't have any COAs on file for any construction or alterations to the sunroom.
And you want to demolish the sunroom, right?
Correct.
And the question is whether it's contributing.
Right.
What's the What's the flooring in the sunroom currently?
Pardon?
What's the flooring in the sunroom currently?
It's a wood floor.
Say if you could pop up that wood floor, you might be able to find if there's a foundation inset that's still there, existing, that they built past, or if it's, is there some evidence that it is not? Because we trust these in terms of materials and heights and everything. Scale is not always true. But knowing that it's significantly different, that may be enough to
Yeah.
let us
If,
make a
if
decision.
it was a porch before, when they did the sunroom, they significantly changed it, including putting steps down from the sunroom floor down into the basement. While the rest of the foundation, that space underneath that sunroom floor is extremely shallow. I wouldn't call it crawl space. It's just enough to get some mechanical to the space, or not even that. It's very
This
shallow.
could be just a lean-to roof on posts with no flooring or anything in it at all. They did a lot of that way back.
But it does have wood joists.
The new does. I'm talking about what we're looking at here.
Okay, yeah,
So you may find nothing
right,
that gives you an indication of this.
right.
Oh, this is the scale.
Yeah,
Oh, that's definitely enough to be not the same. Okay.
So what you're looking at are revised drawings, and basically the changes that we made from the original concept was lowering the roof pitch of that two-story addition at the very rear. It used to be at a 12-12, now it's much shallower. We did the same to the connecting second-story addition above the existing one-story portion of the house. And that has then allowed us to keep, and also just meet with your guidelines, keep the existing chimney that's back there, as well as the window. I thought maybe the window might still go away, but now that window can stay. And so I'm showing basically that rear gable staying as is.
Something we have discussed as a commission in the past, and I'm looking for the commission to give feedback on this. When we built on top of an existing one-story addition, the differentiation we're looking for, obviously you've set back in this design on the.
That was another.
I wasn't here last time, so I
request.
apologize.
Last time I did step back as well as the dormer on the third floor too. I stepped that back.
Is the step back enough for the commission to differentiate with the material being the same, board and batten?
I thought we were tearing down the far rear addition to put this on.
So the first edition,
Oh,
No,
that
That
was-
middle
section.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
this is old drawings, but
Yeah.
it's thematically the same.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer to have a material change between a newer addition versus an old addition, that distinction.
I'm gonna look over your shoulder. This, I just want to see this. It significantly steps back.
Okay.
It
On the
does.
opposite side, do we have an elevation of the opposite side?
This is the north side. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, so steps back on both sides?
The new
Yeah.
drawing should have elevations. I think that was another
Yep.
addition. I did all four
It does
elevations.
step back on both sides.
So both sides step back. Okay.
Significantly, yeah.
I was so wondering, like how material.
Yeah, material changes.
But I can't tell what's
Yeah.
going on there. Oh, see, they slid.
5, 6.
So the existing first floor is board and batten. You're suggesting that the second floor addition be a different material.
That's the question.
I'm okay.
I worry about it being, why,
So there is something in the, and this is part.
I think
part
that's
of it.
what I
There's something
want-
in the guidelines that say additions to addition should be treated as one addition.
that is true. All right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with,
Okay.
okay,
All right. You've convinced.
all
me.
right, thank you.
So should the new addition, you're saying additions to additions should be treated as,
Same.
As one addition.
are we saying that this
I still
existing
want-
one-story addition was an addition, or was that part of the original design and then everything beyond that, above and past it is an addition?
I think the one story in the back is an addition.
That's,
There were additions to additions on this house, just exploring that even that front original part looked like the front half was a full 2-story, while the back half was a 1-story, because we saw evidence of new framing on top of an old plate. The original house is balloon framed, of course. And then we saw a plate towards the back half and new framing
The kitchen is.
for adding a bedroom.
Mhm.
and my other question is, so you're tying into, so that the 2-story structure that you're gonna be tying into at the second floor. What's the, where your pen? How do you propose to deal, how is the pitched roof tying into?
Well, it's a lower slope than that,
Okay. This piece here,
and it's set back.
how it engages with this corner?
It's not gonna, the new roof does not engage with that eyebrow.
And you're saying it clears the window over there.
Clear that window.
Since you have the step back on the second floor, would you be maintaining this stop gutter style there? As opposed to putting new gutters on?
I was assuming that we were gonna maintain that profile.
Everything from that down
Down
should
is
stay.
staying the same.
Yep.
It's just easier to look.
Any thoughts on proposed windows from the commission? Looks like we've got multiple over multiple on the primary structure. Should the addition have the same multiple, or should be simpler in its panes?
I think it could be either, depending what they want to do. I think the massing works to say that it is all in addition to the original. So I don't think the windows are necessarily needed to be different than the existing windows if they don't want to. I don't think they want to, looking at.
If we are just carrying down the line here, if we are keeping the number of panes on the windows to be like what is on the original, should the orientation, i.e. single double hung windows as opposed to butted up windows?
Well, I would like to note that the front window pattern is different than the side window patterns on the original house.
And again, I apologize for coming in late to the
No,
conversation.
No.
it was a challenge for me to
Neither Anthony or I were at the last meeting.
decide which way to go.
Sure.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of that front elevation window pattern with the horizontal grids. I like my grids vertical.
Noticed that. Is it 8/8?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
Is that
seen
just on the front facade? The horizontal grid?
Yes.
And then the side windows have,
The side windows are narrower, I believe. I'm sorry, I don't have my drawings in front of me.
Yeah.
Fine now.
Hi.
So they are still, the side,
yeah, it looks like the second floor is horizontal and the first floor is
Yeah,
long.
the second floor is different.
the second floor is definitely different. I was trying to look at what the side first floor windows were.
The site first floor look like they're 6/6.
Right, that's what I recalled.
When you do come back for action, I would request photos of the side to document what's there currently. for the archive purposes,
Yes.
but existing stays existing.
Want to support design decisions on the addition too?
Yep.
I do think the reduced height on the addition is,
I do too,
much
actually. I
nicer.
think it was, I think
Solve
it
a
was a
lot of-
wise change.
Yeah,
Solve a lot of problems.
the lower slope really helps.
To go back to Commissioner Schultz's statement, I feel like the original one-story addition that's staying, that piece is just disappearing into the new. I don't think that is appropriate. I think this should differentiate. You can go to an elevation. We don't have them, do we? This piece here is what I'm talking about.
Almost there.
It's that piece. It just
On the
it just
side.
fades into everything else. I think that should be still stand out as part of a historic piece of the original building.
I think it might, to Fields, might be the way it's being rendered. The roof looks like it's canting in on the ends when it would be flat in elevation. You know what I'm saying? Like the size of the roof in that
Yeah.
elevation, they're tilting in. And it won't
Okay.
be like that.
I think the massing
I will trust the architects in the room.
I would, I mean,
I don't know the question.
I would love to see the back
Oh, these.
of
Yeah, so my
floor plan.
It's just
my-
the shed,
Well,
isn't it?
I was trying to mimic the existing eyebrows that are at the floor a little bit.
Because I don't have it in front of me, where in relationship to the original edition that's staying is the new back edition? My question was not clear. That's what I was fearing.
Oh, no.
It is in front of it. Yeah, I don't think that's,
Second floor is in.
yeah, I don't know if that's helping you. Having it come, I know you're getting more space out of it, and I'm sure they really love that.
I'm trying to get more space and also stay within the building.
Gobbling the corner.
guidelines.
But it's eating that corner of roof.
Well, I just felt it was so far back from the street that
Yeah,
I felt it was an appealing.
but so if we're following that stepping out, that corner's getting chopped off.
You're right.
It doesn't do.
You're right. I apologize.
Well, I'm trying to
That's-
follow my own.
Roof does overhang.
Well, and does the roof extend this way at all? On the left? We have a photo that side?
It would be what's original. If you
Yeah.
could scroll to the,
That's what I wanna
I'll try to find.
figure out what we're working with.
No, you're right. May I?
Right there,
approach?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Pop up number 4.
I don't know if that photo's there. It's such a tight.
Oh, yeah, it is right there.
I would maintain
Yeah.
it. I would maintain.
I feel like it's showing more
You're-
proud than it really is.
I did that wrong.
It's
That's
not that.
wrong.
Yeah,
It's okay.
This should be just
Yeah.
flat.
there you go.
Which then it's disappearing more.
Yes.
I'm back again.
Right now, it's looks like it's projecting out too
Yeah.
much. I
Mhm.
apologize.
I'm just cautious about that piece disappearing into the grand scheme of it.
Exactly.
So you think it's more historic than addition?
I think so
I
because
mean, that's legit.
the addition that we're talking about was 1901.
Yeah, it's Sanborn.
It's from the Sanborns.
Okay, so
not-
then it is more historic than it is considered
Yeah.
by guidelines in addition. So that's
Yep.
what you're saying is legit.
Would altering the finish of the two-story addition help that situation?
I think what is not, I think what would be appropriate for the guidelines is to still, like, you've kept that corner expressed, but that corner is getting blocked, hidden by that expansion.
Yeah.
As the old thing. So I think
Yeah.
pulling it back a little bit to showcase that corner.
What
as
does a
much of
little
a
bit?
leaf trap that is gonna be. Just a little bit, like a foot, 6 inches, something to help that return of materials.
I just want to be clear. You're talking about the two-story addition wall, exterior wall, or the one-story
I'm talking about that 2-story addition wall that's going.
that is about projected now 3 feet. You'd say it would help if it was projected out only 2 feet 6?
No. I'm talking about moving it this way to help showcase that corner of a 1901 addition.
Are you saying that there should be an offset, a small connecting piece?
Little, yeah.
Gasket.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
I understand.
You're close.
Another option just on the table is that original first one-story addition,
The footprint.
the footprint, the north and the south facades, according to staff's evaluation, 1981 was a COA to install board and batten to be added to the part of the first floor on south and north sides to match existing board and batten. So the board and batten that's there isn't necessarily a historic pattern for that piece.
Mm.
If the new addition wants to be board and batten, altering that to something else could be potentially an option.
Well, I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you if we needed to match the exact same pattern on the second story addition as what's on the first floor. I knew that we could do something different with the two-story addition, but I was questioning that.
Altering the two-story addition, the new construction, altering that from what is there to some form and fashion will help differentiate
Right.
what is new.
But I was wondering about the second story addition over the existing one story, that board and batten. That can be different.
To me, that should speak to what your two-story addition on the back is.
Yeah, that should all.
Right.
It's all contemporary.
And it will help differentiate the original from the new. Okay. I think that's all very doable.
Yeah. And then the chimney
Stays
stays.
on the outside, not on the inside.
Once it's enclosed, you do what you got to do on the inside. I've got a house that has a chimney taken out on the first floor. Love to have it back, but it's gone.
Appreciate the new dormer. Learn that.
Any other comments or feedback?
Finish our conversation about the window on the dormer. The
Windows on dormer?
married windows.
So which on the above the third floor or the second floor?
Well, now that I'm looking at the elevations, there's a lot more married windows than I thought there were.
All the married are on the new.
They are.
On new work.
Yeah. So you could make the case that the married windows in the dormer is new construction and is speaking to the new construction on the back. One could make that case.
I make that case.
I'm not saying one would buy that case, but one could make that case.
I think I can buy the pair. I'm not so sure about the triple. It's because of that relationship. I don't.
Okay.
With it being new construction and set back and tucked away, is it a showstopper?
It's not
for
a
you?
deal breaker for me. I just don't think it works
Appropriate.
well proportionally. But that's my hat.
Well, I'll take that into consideration, and when I develop the
Just
final the application, I will do something I think that will meet your. I think there's some leeway there.
Mhm.
I would caution from making it look too much like the first
Right,
story because
right.
that is the original and I
Right.
don't want that to look matchy even though it's new.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer if it goes away a little bit more, so the more glazing is actually, personally, I prefer that approach because it precedes the significance of it. But yeah, we'd be interested to see what solutions you want to offer for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say continuing the materiality of the second floor of the one-story addition and the two-story makes sense visually.
Right.
So explore that as well.
I would suggest that your gasket is in line with your second story exterior walls.
Pardon?
That your gasket is in line with your second story addition walls
Okay,
on the, over the existing construction.
right,
And then you can carry the roof through and it'll all work.
right.
That will give us good clear corners.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Okay.
move your two-story over a foot.
I just gotta get in there.
Right.
Any other?
So, no, that was great feedback. I really appreciate you working with us on the drawings.
Sure. All right, no action necessary, so appreciate your time coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want me to take that off your hands?
So if you need a copy of that for the record or.
You can have it.
Can we do? Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks. All right, item number 11, COA 2600032 South Lozelle.
Now we're only one behind.
Hey. Once you're both settled, if you'll raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, up to the truth.
Yes.
And your name?
Joel Burke.
Thank you.
Jeff Wolf.
Thank you.
And this is a conceptual application for new construction to maintain the existing cinder block structure and construct a new second-story addition, and to convert the first floor structure to contain a single-car garage as well as dwelling space. The following is taken from the January 2026 GVC meeting minutes. Commissioner Thiel stated that the property that he lives in German Village has a 1960s era cinder block garage that was approved by the commission at that time and is now considering contributing to the neighborhood. Commissioners asked how tall the current structure is and if the applicant was maintaining the same footprint. Commissioners asked if there is an existing curb cut in front of the property. They do see sandstone curbing there currently, but it could have been possible that it was added later if it was originally constructed as a garage. Commissioner Thiel stated that he considers the building to be contributing as is and would not be subject to being modified or demolished. Commissioners present stated that they would not be in support of demolishing the existing building or converting the current dwelling into a garage, since it has been a residential unit in this form since around 1946. According to applicant who located a permit asking for the request to convert the garage to a dwelling unit. Commissioners stated that the structure still has its character from its initial conversion, and as stated by the applicant, Lozelle is turning into more residential buildings, and it would be an imbalance to convert a garage, and it would not contribute to the street. Most commissioners could be in support of adding a second story onto the historic structure, if keeping the original structure intact, as well as the original footprint, since it does follow the rhythm of the street, but not converting the first floor into a garage. Commissioners stated that the building is not that wide and the infill will be mostly garage door and would be an imbalance on the street with it being so close to the street. The applicant has provided updated drawings and renderings and also a permit application from 1946 to support his application that have been added to the materials, and proposes to maintain the existing cinder block structure with a modification to the facade to include a garage door. From our records, the historic property has had minimum alterations that has included roof replacement and painting. Staff recommends the commission give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future hearing. And the basis of this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.12, Standards for New Construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N.
Anything else to add?
Well, so thanks for having me back. Some of you weren't here, and I don't know if the materials from the previous meeting, I guess you have all of those, but also I sent you a more recent iteration.
Yes, they
street
should be
view,
in
that
there.
one there. That's the one we're kind of working off of. That's more in line with the elevations of the other properties on the street. So just a little background, since some of you weren't here last time. I've been in German Village 30 years this year. My current residence I purchased in 2000. I've had 2 additions. Both have gone through the commission for approval. The original home is brick with the original slate roof, the original front door, inside many of the original woodworking, all original windows, to the chagrin of my monthly bill. I'm a big advocate of what we do in German Village. I've been on the House and Garden Tour twice. This property is in my back alley. So when it went on sale, as you can see from the previous iteration, it looks like nothing else really on the street all the way. I've driven up and down Lansing, even on the alley side. I didn't have any evidence when I was here last time that it was in fact permitted as a garage, and I've now submitted that. I ordered that from the historic permits, and you can see in 1946 it was actually a 3-car cinder block garage. So, and then I heard tonight, a comment was made that you're always supporting bringing something back to its original historic purpose, which this clearly was a garage initially, and then it became a dwelling. I came in here last time wanting to demo the whole thing because I really didn't understand until you pointed out that cinder block, if it's been there for a long period of time, it's now part of the historical record. And I didn't even understand that that was a possibility. So I've amended this as to keep cinder block, keep the footprint, keep the original cinder block, and then just add up. And then the 2-car garage versus the 1-car, looking at the parking on the street, if we go from the no parking sign down to the next driveway, by only having a 1 curb cut, we actually eliminate 0 parking on the street and add 1 additional off-street parking. I bring back the original brick sidewalks. One of the first things I did in the house I purchased on 3rd. In 2002, I put in all the German Village approved brick. This is an opportunity, I think, once in a generation. That's why I bought it, was to do something that the block could be proud of, that German Village could be proud of. Was to give this thing some life and purpose. And so keeping it as a 1-car garage with its historical context of being a garage originally, and then also keeping the facade, the front facade of the first floor. I mean, the roof line, currently the ceilings aren't even to code. The door's been cut off. But to keep that kind of facade and then add above it is really, I think, what Joel has created here is really quite charming. And even on the print inside the floor plan, it's very functional. And I think it adds to the street. And again, all the elevations are in line with everything else on the block.
Questions, comments from the commission?
My position hasn't changed. In that this is way too destructive of what's there. It was converted to a bungalow garage in what, 1946 or after the war, which made sense. And you made that point and I agree with that. It's been there for 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, like that. I don't think that justifies making it a garage again.
I was not here for the last conversation, so if I am treading water,
Go for
let
it.
me know. I'm trying to understand from the Sanborns and the textual information, the provenance to today. So looking back, and if I just jump right into the what year is this one?
It's not, there's a shed. The footprint's different. on
It's
the
that
original
one
side.
little shed right there, right? Because one parcel in from Whittier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a shed, and then it turns into
Which was with the property of Mohawk.
That's right. So this was owned, obviously, as you would suspect, it was a 877 Mohawk. It was, the cinder block garage was constructed in 1946. It was then converted to a dwelling later that year. They lost their son in the war the year before. And then 1950, which is what the auditor site shows as being the first time that this property existed as its own parcel, it was just split.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, the original Sanborn is a smaller footprint.
And so did the textual history state specifically it was a garage or it was a workshop or a utility
The
building?
original, I don't know. I don't have anything prior to
building?
1946.
No. So after this one, so if you go to the 1920, this one here. So at this point in time, obviously there's a cut and paste on top of it, and it's a dwelling at this point in time.
That's the later one.
By
That's the
61.
60s.
So we're saying that sometime between the previous Sanborn and this one, a structure was built. Do we have evidence that it was truly a garage?
It's right here. It's
text,
the
okay.
historical permit, building permit for a
Gotcha.
3-car garage.
And now we have at least 80 years, if we use 61 as the latest, if we assume that this is done 61, 80 years as a dwelling. And we have on-street parking there. And per the guidelines for curb cuts, following historic neighborhood patterns, are there garages along this stretch of the Zell currently?
I have a 2-car garage. There's a 1-car garage right across the street from this that was built in the 80s. It's a carriage house, very similar to this design. This house, there's one other 1-car garage house, similar design to what I'm proposing. You can see it. So
Yep, I'm seeing them.
there's the car that's sitting in a driveway to the left there. I have that. That's my carriage house. I did not build that. So when I purchased 3rd Street, these are 2 parcels. I brought them back together as one. There's the other one. So that's a 1-car, similar format. And then there's me across the street, this
Yep.
bungalow. And then the street, that one does not have one, but one north to it does have a 1-car garage. Carriage house.
I'm just going through the bullet points of our curb cut section so we can clearly identify which are met, which not met, to determine if a curb cut is permissible.
But I'm looking for
There's only 2 curb cuts on that side of the street.
what is the current curb on this property?
Is it historic? Well, so you can see it's been,
It's been replaced in the area that you're not putting a curb cut.
well, or I could swap sides, but I was thinking about keeping the door where it is, but this could easily be reversed. So the curb, so if you get my pictures from the first meeting, I actually took pictures of where it looked like the original curb cut was. Where you could see there was a distinction between original curb and something more recent. And I took it straight out from the house. Oh, right there. So you can see that's where it would have been. We don't see it. On the other side, there's one that shows the right side. Yeah, that's it. So you can see the split in the curb is jettisoned straight out from, or at least a little panning from where that garage opening would have been. So, and there's a distinct difference in the weathering of those 2 curbs.
So the things we take into account in the past on allowing a curb cut is how many spaces it take away. And it's not just the width of the curb cut and the width of a parking space, it's what's the parking rhythm. So if you go to and it's not how we park in the village,
Okay.
it's how the city views it. So you go from the one end and you got a setback because you're with the streets. I believe it's a 30-foot setback. And that's where the first car can start parking. And there's a legal definition of a parking car or parking spot length. And so you use those segments to go through. Once you get close to the proposed curb cut, you have a certain setback, 5 or 10 feet from that. So that's going to limit there. So it may look like you can fit 3 cars in there, but it might just be 2 legally. And then when you go continuing down the streets, what's that rhythm look like coming back from that end? So if we're taking out 2 cars or 3 cars, if we're going to a 2-car garage, often what we hear from applicants is, well, we're taking out one parking space on the street and putting two in my garage. It's like, but that's taking public use to give to private use. So it's taking away parking from neighbors. And one could say, well, it's you're taking your cars off the street. Well, it's still taking public use and giving it to private use. So that's a very delicate thing we dance. But the curb cut section itself is to follow neighborhood patterns. I think there's some patterning here that there are curb cuts, there are driveways in this stretch. Is the historic site or neighborhood fabric affected? If we're saying that this is a historic structure, then that second bullet point may be contentious. Is a curb cut from an alley? It's a street, not an alley. Is existing on-street parking retained? It is not. Is pedestrian flow impeded by the new curb cut? I would say no. You can ramp the apron as necessary. And new sloped aprons should not overlap with sidewalks. That's going to be a contentious piece because all of our driveways are up at the sidewalks. We don't have a lot of tree lawns on some of these streets. So you got a couple bullet points of that curb cut section of the guidelines that we got to agree upon that is okay. But the historic nature of the building, does it stay? Does it go? If it goes, what goes? What goes back in its place is the conceptual. So that's where my head's at.
Yeah, so based on that checklist, is there sort of a quantity that you would want us to hit? Because I mean, each one sort of has different ramifications, right? Some are more dramatic than others. Is there sort of a precedent with that, what types of studies we can provide or drawings that would allow us to get to a certain number of those that would be amenable, as opposed to all of them, which seems obviously unlikely?
Yeah, these are the criteria that we may consider when determining. It gives us our guidance. There's no strict, you must do 5 out of 6. Because you could say that our curb cut's going to only affect the parking pattern. But if you have a 70-foot wide curb cut, like it plays into the nuances of each site.
Sure.
So I think having that parking study would be good to have. That lets us know what the net loss, net gain would be. The rest are pretty much self-explanatory if they meet or don't meet. But there's several of them. Seems like it's at least 4, if not 5, are going to be problematic.
So there's the contention of the garage is sort of twofold, right? There's one, sort of your opinion is it's the aesthetic of it. And then the second one, which is more the logistics of what a curb cut. So we understand that we're.
I think the first and primary is, do we view what's there as historic? I think we all agree that the structure is historic. Purpose is debatable, but city code states that if you're in a historic district, anything 40 years or older puts it up for qualification, potentially for historic status as it is. We have had situations where we look to what was there before and using historic evidence to facilitate going back to earlier period. That's for the commission to discuss and decide upon. But I think you're going to have a very hard bar of demolishing or taking down what's there. I think you're in a position of altering what's there in a compatible way.
Well, to be clear, I'm not asking to demolish at all. I've removed that. So there was some confusion in this application, but I'd removed demolishing the cinder block as an ask.
Have you explored the framing inside of there to determine if there was a garage on one side versus the other, or if it's both sides? Is there any existing framing?
Very clear. It's both sides. And yeah.
The cinder block wraps the entire perimeter except the front, which is all wood.
Yeah. And there's an L in the back. I don't know if you saw that.
Saw plans, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that might have been when they made it a dwelling, that they maybe added that on, I'm not sure, but they called it a 3-car garage. So maybe it was always there and it was like a tandem on one side.
So I think if we're saying that it used to be 2-car and our intent is to go back to the historic configuration, would be 2-car, which exacerbates the parking issue. If we say we're going to do 1 to minimize a parking issue, well, now we're not going back to the original configuration. It's a catch-22 dilemma, which then is going back to the original even possible with the guidelines that we have.
So the last time, a couple of the members that were here said they'd support a second floor, which would be altering the original configuration in and of itself. So, I'm really at a point just trying to understand what I can do with this property. I'm not putting a second floor on here without a garage. It just doesn't make sense. It's too expensive, the construction, and it's just not going to have the value. I'm not living here myself. I do think this is probably a once in a lifetime opportunity to really do something special with this property and try to bring that historical. So assuming we got this, because otherwise it's just going to be a first floor dwelling and make it a rental and be done with it. It's not it's just a really poorly built structure. This thing, they might have built it themselves without any kind of construction experience. But I looked, and I don't know if there's a picture that shows the cars, but is there a number, when you say a street study, a parking study, I felt like I had gone out and measured, is it 18 feet? Is there a specific guideline for per
It's in
parking?
city code what a parking stall length is for a parallel parking
And
space.
so we're looking just to understand, and maybe Joel, you understand what he's asking for, and I just want to clarify. But we're talking like down there's another picture that kind of shows the cars parked that way and the cars parked the other way. Because it's only parking on that side of the street.
You start from the cross streets, the curb on the cross streets, and there's a code specified distance back from that curb.
Okay.
Perpendicular curb. And that's where parking can start.
And that's where that no parking sign likely is.
Yeah, typically they put them all up at 30 feet back unless there was a grandfathered in post already in place.
Okay.
And so you go from there, and then you have your length of each parking stall, and then you may end up with an odd dimension by the time you get to the other end of the street. So you have the ability to kind of shift back and forth to your favor. But when you put your curb cut in where you place it, you're going to have the length of your curb cut plus a certain distance per city code, how far back from your curb cut parking can be legally. I think it's 5
Plus
feet,
like
maybe.
1 or 2 feet or whatever it might be.
I think it might be 5.
5 on each side of the curb cut.
Yeah. Yeah. We all park closer, but city code dictates.
And so if this one car curb cut perhaps allowed for 3 cars on either side of it to the next curb cut, and without the curb cut,
Your cut's perfectly placed and it takes out 1 car. It's a 1 car loss impact. If your curb cut just falls, that is going to take out 2 cars. It's a 2 car loss impact.
Yeah.
I think that should feed into your proposal.
and they don't consider a 1 car, this is all permit parking, we know that now. But they don't consider that you are taking a car off the street and putting it on private property. That is 1 less car demanding parking on that street.
Depends on how you look at it. You could flip it the other way, as developers do, and say, well, we don't need cars around here. So it's not just that you're taking a car off the street and put it in the garage. It's saying that you, as a private citizen, now get a dedicated parking spot, and everybody else has 1 less parking spot to utilize on the public streets.
Yeah, it also goes to like the Columbus residential code where would require 2 off-street parking.
Currently,
So it's a little bit of an overlap, like.
Yeah, and we grandfather, if
conversation.
there's no parking, we don't require you to put parking. Yeah.
Understood. But I do think that the parking study is certainly something we can do, but we can do those metrics. It sounds, just to kind of get feedback for like how to move this forward appropriately, right? Like if we can get it, if it calculates out that we are losing 1 spot and gaining 1 spot for the garage, that seems like that would be amenable.
I think from the commission, if I go down the line, feedback on, are we, anybody here on the commission okay with making it garage space? The concept of curb cuts, and is there a limit to loss of parking that would drive that decision? If you're not amenable to a garage in the first place, it's a non-starter for you. Commissioner McCoy, thoughts?
I don't know.
Don't know, okay.
I think, I don't know. I think it's hard to, I think we have to see all the criteria, how many you not meeting the criteria, because, like you said, if you lost one spot but gain one spot, then you also interfere the pedestrian circulation. I don't know. I think I weigh them pretty equally. So I think we have to come back and see all the things, how many not meeting the requirement.
I think that's good feedback. I think to continue the conversation then to expand upon, let's assume we get past the curb cut and the parking garage situation. What about the remaining sort of structure of it? The additional height, the roof, like, can we get any general feedback once you're assuming we get past hurdle number 1 and 2? Understanding that obviously this is a preliminary design, we just wanted to get something here that felt authentic to the street, comparable to other carriage house sizes.
And now, I'd still like to hear from each of you about the garage, what he's asking about the curb cut, if there's any on that too. Because would that be the next step, would be for us to kind of look at further the study and then make a decision? That, I guess that's what I'm saying. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, when you look at the street rhythm of buildings, definitely 2-story seems more appropriate for that part of the street and most of LaSalle, really, if you think about it. I am conflicted about the fact that the historic use was a garage. And so would it be, and then it wasn't, which is what the current use is, it's just a dwelling unit. There are a lot of examples, like you said, in German Village with a garage as part of the dwelling unit. I was opposed to the 2 garage. I think that's just all facade is a garage. This one, I think I am more open to. I do want to see, the study and the impact of that curb cut on the street. But if it's a 1:1, I am likely to see that a little bit more favorably.
Okay, thank you.
I want to jump in and say that one thing I think I would want to see if this were done would be something that recognizes the first floor of that building, because, the rendering that you have, it becomes a monolithic facade. So I think part of that, if this is done, that original building should be expressed. And if you are locating, if we are doing the curb cut, I would prefer it located where the concrete curb
On the left instead
exists
of the
on the
right.
left, yeah, to retain the sandstone curb.
But then you're losing the
Everything.
historic door and
Now, if
window
you,
opening.
I don't think you are, because if you look at that existing building, it's infill all the way, pretty much from sidewall to sidewall.
But we're saying that, I'm saying that infill is historic. The garage is a minor use that was early. And in 1945, somewhere between 1945 and 50, 80 years ago, it was converted to a single family residence. And it's been that way historically forever.
I see what you're saying.
And to speak to your comment about some have garages in the front, those are all new builds. There are no historic buildings in the village that have garages in the front.
And the concrete curb only extends partially. And that's where you would want that curb cut, but then you're destroying that front.
Is there a world where, and I don't want to spend my client's money, so I was asking, that limestone would be replaced with limestone from the reserves if possible? Because I mean, the limestone curb, if that is what we're looking at, is, pretty much gone. And so if the concern is about the authenticity of the street, along with the brick, bringing back a true
I think
limestone
there's too much
curb.
focus here on curb cut. The garage is the issue. And putting a second story on this that still respects and indicates what the original building was.
I think
You have, the only thing that indicates the original building from what you're proposing is a pair of doors and pair of windows and a door on the left-hand side.
so. If you go back to we had gone through, this was a quick iterative process, and so none of these are there. But if you go to the older material, I guess, whichever direction that is, we had played around with this idea of there was another rendering in there
like a belt.
Once again, an idea of some sort of awning that was some homage to, I saw it in there somewhere.
There it is.
And so a bit more of a style, different roof style, but I think just the conversation, this was an inkling at that potentially. But
To your point of trying to bring, to give it,
so I guess general thoughts on, would that accommodate that concern? Or something similar?
I think it's in a better direction, but I still think from previous applications, you're not respecting the original footprint of that and stepping it in, making it smaller, subservient to the original. And by using your own language of calling the roof an awning, you've just tacked it on, and it's not. It's less a remnant of the original roof and more of a tacked on eyebrow.
Guidance talks to putting additions in the back.
Yeah, unfortunately, the guidelines aren't as clear when vertical expansion, the horizontal expansion is more clear about gasketing and, or at least the way I'm interpreting it. So but understanding your point, right? I think that.
To the commission, there's a 50s ranch, a Mohawk, that's been there for 80 years. Can we allow them to put a garage in the front? Can we allow them to tear it down? Can we allow them to change the massing on that?
No.
No.
what was this? I missed the first part of it. A cinder
There's
block
50s
garage?
ranch, a Mohawk, which is the same age as this, but it was built as a house. Do we allow them to do everything that you're asking to do? This
No, I think the
because-
biggest distinction here is that this was clearly built as a garage.
But it has been a residence for over 80 years.
I understand.
And I almost could get there if this garage building still was associated with the house in
That's where it's
front, but it's not. It's had a lot split.
Yeah.
And
I-
that, I might be, yeah, but I might be able to get to restoration as a garage to serve that house. But
But
not
not
for
by
a
itself.
garage to serve a rental unit and that, or whatever unit, a residential unit that's been expanded on this alley.
If you were to go down the path of this being in relation to the original house it used to be in relation to, that's a small cottage as well, which that leads us down the path of, would you put a large carriage house behind a small cottage?
Absolutely.
Historically.
In this location, no.
I mean, it is there's lots of unique properties, obviously, in the neighborhood, but it being a garage on its own garage at one point on its own lot, so we had an ADU conversation. It's not an ADU anymore, right? It's a single family residence. So it's a unique parcel. And I think what we're asking for is potentially a more unique solution to that, right? Because it is not a carriage house in true terminology, right? It's a residence over a garage on its own parcel, right?
This goes back to what we talked about, a side porch, that sometimes solutions are not appropriate to what the situation is.
And I agree with you that the best purchaser for this property was what I did with my 3rd Street and Lozelle property would be the Mohawk property to bring them back together. And if they picked up the phone and called me today and said, hey, Jeff, I'll pay what you paid. I want to make it, I want to buy it, and I want to turn it back into a garage, I'd sell it to them.
You wouldn't donate it?
No, I wouldn't donate it. If I can get out what I put into it, I would.
Yeah, I get that.
But buying them and then making this project is not in the cards.
And looking into the city's recent guidance about ADUs, because they changed that, this doesn't qualify as an ADU at all. This is specifically, like they said, it's a single, it'd be turning a non-garage single family into a dwelling on top of a garage single family. And that's not the ones that we see, whether it's successful or not is up for debate, have all been garages, ADUs. It has not been
But so how does is there like a number of days that we can't go back in history to its original? Like, how do I brought up some Snap, I was there during the Snap Fitness thing. I don't know I'm sure you were. And I know the commission was involved, but it doesn't look like there's a appropriateness issued.
Well, it had to be.
Well, no one could find one. So there's a dispatch article saying that the commission facilitated, but it was really a zoning variance. And because it was zoned differently, but they went back, and I remember I was very involved in this because my neighbors on Third thought it was going
Yeah.
to ruin all the parking. And it's
Nope.
actually, it's been a decent addition to the block. But what happened was they pulled out pictures from the 20s of the YMCA that was there. And they proved that it was, and they were bringing it back to its original use, even though it had been for 80 years probably or longer, something else. They said the original use was a YMCA, and I included my notes on this in there. Here's why we're doing it. And it was really done at the city council level. And they said, no, we're bringing it back to what it once was.
But there was no modifications to the outside of that building
That's what I was.
on the
gonna
front.
ask.
There was some to the back, but the front street facade and stuff was
We're gonna go back to,
stayed in place, untouched.
that opens the box of if you're gonna go back to earlier time, and we're saying we're gonna use that as precedent. What evidence do we have aside from just a general statement, it was a 2-car garage?
We have
Bring it
the
back to
building
you.
permit.
Do we have photos to determine the configuration of that 2-car garage?
Yeah. No. I've tried. I've got a lot of information. I know more about these people that live there than I ever thought I would.
I would say to me, it sounds like you don't have the support for the garage. Is there anybody who's on the fence about that? Do they have the votes is the question. I don't want to send them down a path of doing a bunch of extra work if they're not going to get past that. Or on the fence, maybe garage.
I mean, if it's a maybe, let's raise our hand. We'll do the work.
3 maybes?
No, I'm not a maybe.
Okay, it's a no, 2 maybes. A no, you don't got them.
You're a no too?
I'm a no. I try to get there, but I can't.
So on just doing this, I mean, what kind of preparation do I need to do for the interior with you guys?
If you work on the interior, it's interior. We have.
And as far as exterior and wanting to site it, and is that?
Yeah.
You, or is that just through you? And windows and bricks, sidewalk, all that? Okay.
A lot of stuff staff provable, and if you can't staff prove it, she'll let us know and we'll put it on the agenda.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me resolution. I got it.
Thank you.
for your time.
Yes.
Right.
Good luck. On to item number 12, COA 2600012141 East Beck. Once you're settled, raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and the truth?
I do.
I do.
Your name?
Heather Goodman.
Thank you.
Larry Folk Architects for the project.
Thank you.
Mark Mariello with on-site management.
Great.
This is a conceptual application for demolition, new construction, and exterior building alterations. Conversion of a 2-family dwelling into a single-family dwelling, the new addition to be constructed on the rear of the home, and a demolition of the existing garage and construction of a new, smaller garage. HBO staff have included the 1891, 1901, and 1921 Sanborn maps for this property that indicate that a 2-family dwelling is the historic condition of this property. As such, staff would recommend that the commission discuss the proposed enclosing of historic openings to accommodate the proposed modification. Staff also note that the construction of the existing garage was approved by the German Village Commission in 1966. So staff recommend that the commission determine whether this structure is contributing and if they are amenable to the demolition before discussing the proposed reconstruction. Staff note that additional photographs of the garage should be provided before a request for action. Staff recommends the commission give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future hearing. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116-11, standards for alteration, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. City Code Section 3116.12, standards for new construction. A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N. The German Village Guidelines for new construction, garages, and outbuildings. And that is everything.
All right. Anything else to add?
Okay, the project is a two-family house now, and from the staff sent those maps of the old plans. I saw it was 1891, I believe, is when it was built. My clients purchased this house to move into as a single-family residence. Currently, it's two-family. We want to do an addition to the back. There's be a small in-ground pool in the back, and then the garage in the back is bigger than I've shown on the site plan. And two reasons we want to take that down. One is to get equipment in to do the project. There's only 3 feet of side yard property line to get into it with any kind of equipment at all. I also want to make it smaller and use some of that square footage to put into the addition to make it work so we're under the 50% lot coverage. The building itself has not been maintained by the previous owners for years and years and years. It's in terrible shape. We're going to go inside and basically gut the interior completely. The outside is all brick of the main house. It's the foundation is approximately 20 inches thick. The first floor is like 16 inches thick, and the second floor is 8-inch, just bare brick, no insulation or anything with that. And so we're going to come back in and do a lot of structural work to it to get it up to snuff, so it's not gonna, it'll last another 135 years, what we want to do. The addition is, I've separated it, I pulled it in from the existing building a little bit on the sides, use it, and it's not going to be brick, it's just going to be siding. One thing from the notice, some of the comments today, was I can drop that knee wall around the addition to make it down smaller so that the eave of the addition is underneath the eave of the existing. There is a lot of windows that are new windows in new places. The front elevation that faces Beck Street will basically use those same windows. If we need to repair them, we can. If not, we can replace those. But there's where we do take a window out, we're just going to brick it up so it matches with the what we've seen in a lot of other places around the village. In the back, we have a screened-in porch with an open deck on the top off the master suite.
And if I could, if I could add to that, a couple years ago, we did a project, 120 Reinhardt. Was on the Garden District tour when we finished, Fran McMillan. So we're excited to be having an opportunity to be back down here and doing another restoration. We will submit more pictures because we did a little discovery inside, and there is this property was really neglected. There are I took some pictures just today of the water just coming out of the soffits. That's been going on for a really, really long time. And all of that has really deteriorated the framing members in the attic, and there's a lot of mold, and you can see it on the walls inside because it's just been like this for a long time. So our plan, the intent of this project is to restore this building. Some of the things that we're proposing are, to replace the roof itself and bring and restore it to not change the pitch or anything like that, just to restore it, to be able to get the fire rating on the eaves because of the proximity of the house on the right. So we would be able to get the rating that we need by redoing that whole assembly properly. And so, we're here obviously today, show you, we've submitted all the ideas that, we have for the property, and then, get feedback so we can go ahead and then, trim this to, and change it and focus on the details to make sure that we're treading softly on some of the details, make sure we preserve the building.
Yeah. Questions, comments from the commission?
One quick question. Do you go to the west elevation? This is something, I think it's rendered wrong, but I couldn't understand. Yeah, so is this new additions here? Is this brick?
That, I showed brick there because there's going to be a fireplace on the inside. But after we've done that, we've decided we can make that all siding. That brick, that part of that brick does not have to be there.
And those eaves need to be.
And then
the walls need to be dropped.
then that eave, that addition part, make the second floor walls are like 9'6" inside.
Okay.
So we can make those like maybe 7'4", 7'6", and that'll bring that eave down below.
Really, architecture didn't understand that. Okay, so my first comment is you're knocking out the whole back of this house from
Correct.
side to side.
Coming in like
Yeah.
8 inches or so. from
Way
the
too
side.
much demolition. You've destroyed the historic character of the house. We prefer that you use the existing masonry openings and design around that as your connection to your addition.
Well,
Okay, so like have a hyphen and then have the addition, right? A connector.
Leave the back wall intact, masonry.
Like on your, because I have it up, on your second floor, you've got one bedroom and a closet, but you've demolished the brick wall
right.
and added a new wall in the exact same place.
Yeah, now,
And you put an opening where there is a window opening, which we've done before. We've extended window openings
To make them doors.
to make them doors up on an upper level, but that's
We haven't widened.
done it a lot. You don't normally widen them.
Yeah, so we're okay with manipulating the drawings to handle, to satisfy those requests. The one thing about the back, I just want to make sure I understand about the back of the house. Currently, there is this thing attached to it. I don't-
How old is it?
I'm sorry.
How old is it?
I don't know, but I wouldn't want to stand under
Yeah,
it.
well, the engineer
Well, then
said
it
no.
needs to be fixed.
Well, we could find out how old it is. I don't think it's, I mean, it's pretty ugly.
I don't, does it show up on those
Because it's ugly.
other maps?
Well, yeah.
Not contributing.
We'd have to know before we let you tear it down.
Okay, so we'll find out how old that is.
Yeah. What we were talking about, the back wall of the existing house is a brick wall, but it's going to be internal to the addition. So why does it still need to be a brick wall?
In case the addition comes down someday, we can restore the house back to what it was.
For the Secretary of Interior Standards, additions should be reversible. Now, once it's enclosed, don't have jurisdiction.
Gotcha.
But we, by due course, we don't approve of wholesale demolition of facades of buildings
Understood.
to facilitate an addition.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a nuance.
Yep.
I will say that my biggest concern with the plan as proposed is all the openings that you're breaking up.
Yeah.
And all the openings you're cutting into the existing historic brick fabric. It's egregious. We don't allow that. We in certain circumstances allow for converting windows to doors and doors to windows, but to cut all new openings just to support an interior design, that's allowing your architectural choices on the interior to drive the exterior. And our purview, our charge is to protect the exterior historic fabric of the district.
So if we left windows in place, but still added new windows is okay? Or-
Nope.
No punching windows into
Definitely
existing
not.
historic brick. But as many windows as you want in addition.
Well, there may not be enough windows for the bedrooms and everything that we need to have.
You'd have to figure that out.
It's your
Bedrooms need to
design.
Be placed correctly.
Charge of the architect.
We also typically, if a multifamily or a duplex is converted to a single family, the door is retained.
Yeah.
That's in the guidelines.
We're fine with it.
Yeah,
You can fix it shut.
Yeah, we're fine with you.
You can board up the inside, you can fix it shut.
Drawing shows bricking that and the window.
Mhm.
My question would be, if we do run, we will move things around, but if we run into a situation where we do have an egress and it's onto a line with a current window below, would that be something that was?
A
you would
new opening
entertain?
that aligns with the window below?
Mhm.
No,
So you would entertain any new windows in any situation?
no new punctures in the masonry.
There's plenty on this building already.
If you need egress, we have seen circumstances, and they're rare, but using a double hung look window that's actually a casement to get you the full opening you need for egress.
So yeah,
But the goal is to have the design fit within the historic structure with minimal modifications to the exterior.
So let me go back. So on the first floor, we were moving the entryway to the side. So that door and that entry, we couldn't put into that brick wall then. We'd have to leave the entryways, one of the two entryways in the very front off Beck Street.
So both those doors must stay.
Yeah.
You don't
Right.
have to
Yeah,
use them as
but-
entries.
Yeah.
But we
100%.
can't add a door on the side in the brick wall. So we're forced into using one of these two doors as the entryway.
The front, yes.
There is a side door.
There is a side.
There is a side door. Yeah, there is one side door on the other side, on the right, left-hand side.
Yep.
Okay.
But we would be able to make that bigger.
No.
Correct.
There's a couple locations where it looks like might be a second floor, kind of hard to, without having the existing as-built and the proposed side by side, it's hard to kind of go back and forth. But it looked like you had some porch infills. Didn't see any good photos of the existing conditions. I'm assuming it's those inset porches on the second floor.
Yeah.
Correct? So the guidelines specifically on page 100 talk about porch enclosures. So I would recommend you read through that section and address the concerns in there about how you would enclose porches. Bricking them up is not an appropriate enclosure because it erases all evidence of the historic form that was there at one point in time.
Yep. Currently, there are two side porches.
Yeah.
Yeah, one on each side.
And one is, it's far back on the,
Yeah, they're pretty far back, right?
and the one, and on the lower side, it's been bricked in with, with noticeably different brick.
If it's already bricked in, we're not gonna make you take it out. If it's already bricked, it's grandfathered in, it can stay the way it is.
Okay.
If the brick doesn't match, that's fine. It's part of this, it's part of the story of the history of the building.
Would we be allowed to take the brick out? Like,
If you want to restore the opening back to an opening,
the opening,
that's a conversation we can have, yeah.
right,
What you do with the opening is the question mark.
right.
Because we can prove there was an opening there.
Yeah,
Typically, using glazing to enclose a porch enclosure is an appropriate thing, so that could be a piece. If you want to put framing up there, has been done in the past.
okay.
Okay. Are there any issues like he mentioned about tearing the entire roof off and redoing the entire roof with trusses and making it match up with what's existing? Is there issues with that?
So it's like for like roof pitch, the whole, everything.
Say that again?
If we take the roof off completely,
Off the existing building?
existing building.
Like structure.
And reframe it.
And reframe with trusses, so there's no center bearing on it, since there is center bearing now, and make it match what's there visually, completely.
Fire.
Fire rate the edges, the overhangs and stuff. Is that an issue?
Right now, you have, box gutters up there?
At the internal gutters, yes.
We'd have to be replaced exactly the way it is now.
Yeah, we could, that's what we're.
But we could replace the totally,
It would have to look exactly like.
exactly like it is, right. Okay.
And then what about,
I'd be surprised if what's there is not repairable. If it's just for the sake of getting the center bearing gone,
yeah, no, we
Tailor
can do
beams
framing.
is a better
We can go in and do framing.
Yeah,
That for that. It's more of just looking at all of the things like all the rot, the mold, all of that itself is, we can navigate through that. But when we look at the fire rating and everything all together, that.
You talk about fire rating. I'm interested in what you think the fire rating issue
Well, we're only 3 feet away from the property line.
that your grandfather did.
Okay, so we are,
Yeah,
okay.
new is an issue, existing is not.
If so we replace the roof, that's an issue.
Yeah,
'cause
there you
of the
go.
overhang. Okay, well, that's fine. We can manage that.
Yeah.
The more exterior
maybe
changes
make you
you
wanna think.
make, the closer you're getting into having to update per code.
Yeah.
The more you keep intact, the more you can leave
They're
as
good.
is. Save your clients some money.
All right. Let's talk about the garage a little bit, about tearing the garage down and putting in a new smaller one in. Is that an issue or how's that adjust?
So this was a 1956
66.
garage. So you mentioned in your first statement that one of the purposes you want to take it down was to get equipment back
Get
there.
equipment back to be able to build the addition.
With it being a 1960s garage, it's over 40 years old, which is the Columbus code for historic consideration. National is 50. So to take it, to demolish it for convenience, I don't think, in my opinion, outweighs.
Okay. Well, I was also demolishing it to put a smaller one in so I could use that square footage to the addition to
To meet lot.
meet the lot coverage.
And we can have a conversation about lot coverage. Oftentimes, we will sacrifice lot coverage to save historic, if necessary. If it's purely architectural design that's driving the extra lot coverage, we probably have to have a conversation about what's driving that lot coverage
Maybe
need.
your addition's too big.
But that would, you would supersede the zoning then on the 50% then.
We can recommend when you submit for zoning variances, we want to know what variances are required.
Okay.
And we would vote on recommendations on those variances, which you could then take with the commission's backup as that recommendation to BZA or council as necessary.
If we support it.
Right.
If we support.
Okay.
And that's what, that's what this is for us, is just having a frank conversation about what, we don't want to waste time, and we want to make sure that we're in step with you guys. So, we want to get as much feedback as we can. So we come back the next time, we can have something that everybody's comfortable with and we get closer.
I was gonna say, one thing you guys did great was step back of the addition on the sides, which is something we typically ask for, a setback or a gasket. So that's kudos.
Awesome.
Okay. We just got to figure out how to use the inside.
Yes, that's right.
I think one thing that I would like to see though is existing elevations as they stand, so we can get a better
Yeah.
gauge of what's
Do
changing.
that.
Yep.
Like we had issues earlier.
Okay.
And existing. floor
And
plans.
existing floor plans.
Yeah. And demolition plans.
And if you hear people say that we don't approve pools, we approve pools. So it's okay.
But,
It would be more of a spool.
That was, it'll be a school.
but the biggest thing to me, I guess, is no windows in the brick walls. Okay.
Yep.
You could put windows in your new addition. right?
Yep. You guys have any other questions?
I don't think so. I'm just, this is where David and I are fifth generation Columbus folks, and we have waited until our kids went to college to be able to move to German Village. And
Welcome to the neighborhood.
I know, right?
You are not alone.
Right.
You are not alone.
Right. So I'm just very excited about working on this project with all of you. I'm excited to be your neighbor, and our intention is to build something that is beautiful and historic, and that will make all of us proud, and that our kids and their kids will come back to. Thank you for your feedback, and again, look forward to working with all of you on this.
And I'll give you just a couple extra pieces of commentary on it. More details, anything else. Stoops are going to stay.
Yep.
Don't propose taking those out. All the ornamentation, all the looks like flagpole holders and plaques and address, those all stay. And being the shutters, if you don't like the shutters, they're faux shutters. They can go away. So if you want to get rid of those, that's something you can do.
I am not going to the mat on shutters. So.
You don't have to take them off, but if you want to, we're not going to push back.
Mhm.
Once you take them off, then they're coming back on.
And as a duplex owner converted to a single, I feel your pain. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other questions or feedback you need?
One question, if I can't remember, it's this house or the one to the east on the alley. It's got a winch hanging off the side of it.
This one.
It is this one?
It is this one.
Yeah, so we're looking for you to keep that.
Yeah, I got a picture of that in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, back in the back corner.
Yeah, I think I have one of these, but you can barely see it in this one, but yeah, hanging off the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stays. It's on the side. It's an arm that goes out, you probably pivoted at one time. It's got
Yeah.
a pulley on it for bringing stuff up.
Bringing stuff.
Yeah, there you go. There's your crane.
So that's how we get water to the second floor.
The elevator that way.
All right.
Buildings have their own.
That's for the,
You're free to have as many conceptuals as you like. So if you want to come back again for another one, we're game for it.
Great, thank you.
so if we would probably need another conceptual, right?
Probably.
Replace a bit more, which is duplex.
All right,
All right.
awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, moving ahead. I just closed mine. There we go. Item number 13, COA 2600025, 499 City Park. You raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, but the truth,
I do.
and your name.
Brenda Parker.
Thank you very much.
This is a conceptual application to construct a new second-story addition to accommodate a new bathroom. HVO staff have included the 1921 and 1951 Sanborn maps that identify the existence of a second-story addition and a later single-story addition. Staff recommend that the Commission discuss the current additions in terms of their historical significance before discussing the proposed new addition. Staff recommends the Commission give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future hearing. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.12, Standards for New Construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N, and the German Village Guidelines for alterations to existing structures, additions.
So this is just to see what's a hard no and what's a maybe. The owners come and they ask me and I don't know. So that's why I'm here. So they are looking to add a primary bathroom. The first idea they threw out was constructing above the enclosed porch. I don't even know what the technical name for that little element is.
With the wrought iron work on them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
And so then the second idea was to add on to the back. There's like the brick 2-story original house. Then there's, I think, a brick addition, or even that might have been original.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's kind of like an 8-foot, it's that dark section below. There's an 8-foot thing, addition. I'm not sure when that was put on. And so it would be constructing on top of that. That's the second idea. And then,
On that lower back roof?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This thing is just a disaster back there. And so maybe it's just, there all these dormers were added. And so maybe it's just kind of reconstructing those dormers. Like, right, if you said an addition is onto an addition, then it just becomes one element.
It's just like a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat.
That shows you right there.
So then that's a good image
Best
of
view.
that. I'll call it the mudroom, the single-story gray
On the left.
on the left. Yeah, so that would be the second option to gain space.
Would it occupy the entire footprint of that one story, or are you thinking it's?
I'm thinking it's more toward the bottom of that page, so we don't get into the brick, that second brick addition. The single-story brick element, I guess I'll call that. So it would just start where that bay is and then go to the right. Yeah.
That's a short little cross gable that they stuck a corner dormer onto, and then he stuck a dormer addition off the back. Ooh, man.
The diagram of this would be crazy.
So does the 1-story brick gable, has that been knocked down for that little 2-story bump out?
So go back to
I'm-
the other.
I'm
to
just
the
curious.
south
I'm guessing
side.
yes. I'm just, go back to that. Go back. Yeah. So this brick wall, obviously at some time came down here.
Yeah, they took it out because that's a bay. It's like it's a window seat.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Just ask.
I think
So-
option 2 is a better option.
Well, I was gonna say,
Okay.
I think it's obvious, not in front.
Okay,
How are you gonna go from here? In the back somehow.
again, but it's a maybe, right? In the back.
Just, I think you got a lot,
I think with
extend
that
something back
addition,
there to give you the space you need.
yeah, I think you can reconfigure this to make it not look
Simplify it?
hodgepodge.
Okay.
Yeah, simplify it.
But
Okay.
yes, back, no front.
Hmm?
Yes, back, no front.
Yeah. Perfect. That's all I needed.
It's a mullet. Business in the front, party in the back.
Historic in the front.
All right, moving on to 14, COA 2600017, 637 South 3rd Street.
Even wanna add?
Barnes?
Sat a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Both gonna be up there? All right. Uh-oh. You both there? You both raise your right hands. You swear to tell the truth, whole truth with truth.
I do.
I do.
And your name?
Jenny Carotis Barnes.
Thank you. And your name?
John Barnes.
Thank you very much.
This is a conceptual application for new construction to construct a new 2-story addition towards the rear of the property. The addition is to include a 2-car garage and a 2nd-floor deck. The property was previously approved in 2021 for construction of a new detached 2-car garage with studio and office space above. The site was approved for a new driveway. To utilize the existing curb cut in the driveway would be a mix of gravel strip and brick. Staff recommendation is to give feedback for the applicant to further refine the proposal for review at a future hearing. And the basis for this recommendation is City Code Section 3116.12, Standards for New Construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, M, and N.
All right. Anything else to add?
Sure. Well, first I'll say we've been waiting for this meeting for like 25 years. No pressure. So the property has been in our family for about 35 years. We bought it about 25 years ago as a rental property. We have like 5 or something like that in the village. So we've been waiting for the right time to work on the exterior, to do those improvements. We've been working on the interior for years. So the impetus here is that this will be our new home. So we're looking to do some improvements and expansion. So as mentioned, this was previously approved for a garage and occupiable space above, maybe a few years ago. With this project that you're seeing, so our intent is to really improve, as previously approved, improve the drive. That's been something we've been looking at for many years, and it's really needs an upgrade. To improve the drive, get the cars off of the driveway and put them in a garage. That's a big improvement. Nobody likes cars in driveways. And also with the addition, to really touch and disturb the existing house as little as possible. So to that extent, we're willing to consider some modifications to this design. But I also want to say, in terms of the sort of the position of things in the exterior, the thinking here is that we want to balance the amount of driveway and the amount of green space. We actually prefer less driveway and more green space. And we want to, as is the sort of way to do things here, is to separate the addition from the house in some way. We don't want them like just slammed up against each other. And thus the request for the variance. Did you mention that, Sophie? The request for the variance? Okay, that's okay. Well, that's part of this. So what we're requesting is a 1 yard setback, side yard setback on the north, so that we can separate the 2 structures. As you know, the property to the north is the book loft, so it's a commercial property, going to be a commercial property, hopefully the book loft for many, many years to come. And also in this presentation, I think towards the beginning, You can see there was an existing structure on the site in the back, right on the north property line. If you go to, yeah, there it is. So there's your precedent there, including an addition off the back, as you can see. So, comments, please.
Questions, comments from the commission?
I guess number one, Jonathan, we don't really approve attached garages. We've tried to keep away from that completely. And your previous thing with the garage in the back, even though it was an architectural style, worked fine. Because it was a separate garage in the back. I also think you're covering up a lot of your north elevation that we can't see it now. Down the side.
Right, again, that's really so that we can have more rear yard and not occupy
Yeah,
the whole rear yard.
Yeah, but still.
And there aren't any-
Actually, you really covered up half that house.
Well, there's no windows on that.
It's still, you
Okay.
covered up half the house.
Mhm.
Windows or not. Yeah, that's kind of where my initial concerns are with your concept. You know, if you're looking at putting a driveway down the north side and swinging it around to a garage and back. House addition was where your garage is at now, probably could be more on board.
House addition where the garage is?
Yeah, but
That
well,
garage
it's
is where?
smaller, but you know, getting a driveway around to the back
Yeah.
on that north property line. I'm throwing that up there.
Yeah, no. Believe me, I've studied this there's about
Yeah, so.
25 different versions.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can't really get around an addition
Yeah.
to a garage in the backyard. And quite frankly, I don't want to, rather not put a big
Okay.
garage in the backyard. We looked at that.
That's just where I'm at, is the garage is usually typically in the
So-
back and they're not attached.
Well, I'll wait for you all to be done.
Yeah.
I can respond.
And that's guidelines page 113, note 2. Garage and outbuildings should be located towards the rear of the property, detached from the residence with access from alleys, which you can't do. Where no alley exists, the garage should be set back from and preferably obscured by the house. This one's front and center.
For me, besides the garage, I think, agreeing with kind of the attached piece. The addition is also kind of the same height as the original building, and I think that that should be lower so that it's so obvious that it is not part of the original fabric of the street. And from what I can tell, the rear piece is even taller than the original. Is that correct?
Yeah. But the original house is actually not a full 2 stories.
And we've had others where, yeah, I mean, there's other ways to, I guess, deal with that, but I'm not a fan of the addition being taller than the original home, so.
I remember, sad to see the original, your previous design go. I was a big fan of that design. You were able to keep that height down by basically sinking that down into, because you basically, your driveway's going up in grade significantly. That could be a way to get your height, is to get that. I'm not sure if you're planning on with this now, apparently having that secondary piece down. I still think the garage on that front facade is a deal killer for an attached structure, but that's a way to get your height down that I could foresee. And the proportions end up a little wonky too, because you got a very traditional proportioned house and you got to go a little bit wider right now because that double car garage is driving the width. So now you have odd proportions in relation to the principal structure. Your roof pitch is getting.
Well, the pitches are, yeah, they're slightly different.
Unless the scale's wrong.
The house is 18 and the garage is probably 19 wide.
It's a lot fatter than 1 foot.
It's the drawing.
Drawings.
It's the drawings.
I'm not opposed to the piece you're adding on the rear of the main house being taller. I think that's a concession that can be done to keep height back. Don't think you're gonna really see that. I need to do a street view walk to kind of see the sight lines.
It's pretty open on the other.
Is it open or south?
Most open, most open more.
Is.
Yeah.
Aside from the tree. Yeah, a new structure would block that view. You go from the other side of the house in the south. That's your view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other comments? No? Okay.
I was curious about the lot coverage of the addition.
Yeah, we're under.
Okay.
We're barely under
Okay.
currently.
Big lot.
So what was the
A
variance?
lot of the items in the site plan are brick patios.
I think it's
On
for
the
side
back,
yard.
off the back of some of
What's that?
these.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on the back, like that top.
Okay, anything else?
Is that 1 yard setback the only variance that you're expecting on this?
Yeah. So I can tell you, so among the many versions of this that I've been working on or looking at, I think that we would be fine with a few changes. So I would be fine with, well, the rear story addition, the rear two-story addition. I think we would be willing to give up most of that. Maybe a small one-story, very small one-story addition for more backyard. That's our idea. And use the space that I think on the plans is indicated as a future space above the garage and use that as the additional. We have 2 kids, so we need places for them to go. So grown up, but they come back. So we would be willing to use the space over the garage, which is, you know, the occupiable space that was also previously approved, instead of building that 2-story addition off the back. So in terms of anything being higher than the existing house, that would be gone. That would be a non-issue. In terms of the location of the garage, look, I think, well, one thing is we want it set back far enough so that we have maneuverability on that garage, on that driveway. Because if you know this spot very well, it's like just covered with tourists all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're often on our property doing whatever, I mean, smoking or whatever. So we hear. So we need enough space so we can actually do probably a 4-point turn. So we can head out. I do not, and I've done this before, but backing out of that driveway is like,
It's not
I mean,
safe for
like
the
little
tourists.
kids, like it's not good.
Makes me nervous.
So we want enough driveway so we can actually head out. But I'm just not a fan of lots of driveway, and I'd rather have more green space, quite frankly. So, and then the height of the addition, yes, we can lower that. You know, part of the challenge, and I've studied that as well, part of the challenge is more retaining wall. If it's about 4 feet from sidewalk to really the first floor, existing first floor. So if we keep that drive down, you know, I got a lot of wall going back. And then I got to get up. So I got stairs to get up, you know, and that's a challenge. I think there's somewhere in between
there's somewhere in between meeting I don't need the garage grade to slab to be at first floor level. At least 2 steps down, if not more, we can manage that, I think. 4 feet is a lot to get up and down. So we can keep the addition down as much as we can. Like I said, the existing house is not a full 2 stories. The side walls, north and south, are about 6'3" inside, top of wall. So I can't even get, I can't like even get in, right? So to get in, and I think this has is that connector 2-story here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elevation.
So look, that's giving me all sorts of problems. Because to get in the house, it's like, I gotta like either get in the floor and then go up once I'm inside, or get into the roof. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to touch the existing house more than I have to. So we're more than willing for the connector to be 1 story and to be, minimal. And I'm willing to sort of move that garage back a little bit to help with that. But I would like to find ways of making the connector as sort of innocuous as we can. Because, that's going to be occupied space, a bedroom there. And I'd rather not have that be sort of going outside to get in. It's not just a garage. And also, like I said, detail on the west elevation, there's a window on the 2nd floor north side of the west elevation. It's a small window. You can tell it's been sort of, it's a replacement window. So it's in a larger opening, which is the same opening size that you see everywhere else. So we like to return that window to the normal size, to the previous size.
You're talking about the existing house?
Yeah.
Okay.
The feedback?
Dormers? Dormers, you said?
On the second floor of the garage?
No, on the existing. As much as you don't want to touch it.
I don't need them. I'm okay with that. I mean, whatever, that's the house, right? I wish they had built it right the first time, but I don't need,
2-car attached garage.
I don't need dormers in the existing house. I could deal with that. The windows are low, et cetera, but.
I wish I could go with you on that, but I still have the issue of attached garage too far in the front.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see it more as an addition, right?
Yeah, we don't do.
Attached garage is an addition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, attached garage is an addition. It's still a no-go. And I don't want to go down this slope and then have a bunch of attached garages showing up again, which we had an issue several years ago with, and pushing back on that. So here we are again. I can't get there. I just can't. That's what the guidelines say.
Any other opinions about that? I'd like to hear from everybody.
I'm very much against attached garages. The guidelines are pretty
I have no
clear.
problem with it, too.
They should be detached and set back as far as possible. I get the idea of wanting open space and green space,
Absolutely.
but your desire for 4-point turn is paving over the yard, which you could have front yard green space. So you're trying to put the green space in the back, which is forcing the garage forward.
Where would I have front yard green space?
If you only had a single drive and the garage is pushed back to the back of the property line, you could create some yard space inside, but you wouldn't have that 4-point turn.
Yeah, how do you do
I
that?
don't know how he's got it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I would end up having like full width driveway all the way back, which to me is kind of suburban, to be able to turn around and get out, right?
Well, unless you had a pad kind of at the top, you could do
You're
one
doing this.
up and then you have like a pad at the top so you could do the turns to get down maybe. If
Yeah, I think my preference would be further back and detached.
So to do the 4-point turn, we'd have to keep, we couldn't put the garage too much lower because then so would you guys be flexible on that if you had the garage more, not drop so low so we can keep it more level?
I think having the garage, that the structure says far back mitigates some of the height concerns because now you're not going to have all that height up
Yeah.
front competing with your primary structure.
Mm.
So I think there might be some wiggle room we could have there potentially.
I mean, what you proposed before was 2 floors, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just saying that, if this is moved back a little further, um, um, I could see how that would work. But having a connector that's behind the house, that's basically almost impossible to see. I mean, you say it creates a precedent. I don't understand. I mean, I see precedents going both ways here, right? And every site's unique, every project's unique. But I think that having an attachment that's not visible is a pretty good solution.
It's probably open for discussion. I can think of a couple. There's a attached garage in Mohawk that we approved. I don't think I voted for it. There's one in Frankfurt. Boy, I wish we had never approved either one of them.
So we went with the one in Frankfurt.
There's a handful aside from the ones in the carriage houses, but
Yeah.
the ones that do get attached, we tend to end up regretting across the board. I'm not saying there's not a successful solution for it, but there's a reason why the guidelines state detached garages.
Right.
So I'm not saying there's not an opportunity. I'm just saying it's a very slim opportunity.
I mean, I think that's an argument about like whether it exists or not and whether you could see it, I don't know, from the air, but in terms of an attachment that is essentially not visible from the street, I'm not sure that I'm convinced with a detriment of that.
I know I could understand an attached, connector if the garage, basically, if you went back to the scheme you had previously and you ended up putting a connector there and maybe it's enclosed at the second floor and not at the first, or I don't know, like more of an arcade or looks
Yeah,
more
I mean, I can't-
transparent or something.
Because I can't get into the second
You
floor
can't get
without
into
like
the
messing with the roof. I don't want to do that. I mean, look, I mean, I could have a fence across that,
Yeah.
or I could disguise it in lots of ways.
Yeah, I think if it's pushed back, there could be an interesting solution for the connector. But it really has to be further back from even the facade of the garage. So the garage looks freestanding from the addition.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, for sure, we would want that. I mean, I think that determining factors are, positioning the garage so that we have the ability to do this turn. I think moving it back, I'm not sure I really like to move it all the way back to the back property line, but moving it back somewhat. And having enough space in front of the garage, but only enough space for that 4-point turn. And then having more green space in front and look, I'm happy with a single lane access drive for a good part of it, as much as I can get. I'm fine with that, as long as I can get cars in and out, right?
Yeah, and I even wanted to do that driveway. They had like the 2 pads and the grass and the gravel between. I wanted to return it to that. Give that same, because it's all been concrete and then filled in the concrete, but the pads are still there. So I could return that just back the way it used to be back in the day.
And if the garage is positioned like somewhere between the previous scheme and this one, so it's, I don't know, it's, 10 or 12 feet from the back of the house. So that connector is small and it's off the side of the house. I mean, here's the thing. This connector, I mean, I'm happy to move it south so that it's off, as much off the north existing wall as it can be and hidden. But I really don't want to, this house has not a lot of light. I got north exposure, I got east exposure right on Third Street, and I got some west exposure. So I'm trying not to cover up my west exposure because that's basically where all the light comes from. So I'd rather not have that connector move further south, right? But let's say enough that it can be basically hidden. And to make matters better, I mean, look, by doing this single lane drive and more green space, you know, I can landscape the hell out of this back part so you would never see this thing. And if somebody wants to try as hard as we will to make it work for you, then good luck for them, right? I just want to make this, you know, a version of it that's minimally acceptable, that does the right things.
The only way I can get behind is if we can make that connector disappear.
Exactly.
That's the driver. If we can't get to there, then we can't get to there.
Mhm.
But to me, that's the only potential path.
And I agree. I think we're on board with that. I want to preserve daylight and green space as much as I can.
Sure.
And I'd like to not touch the house anymore. Now, the challenge with connecting the connector meeting the house on the west facade rather than the north facade is, you know, I don't have openings there. You know, and I mean, I can make a new opening in closer to that corner. I'd rather use the existing, there's an existing window towards the back on the north. I'm okay with taking a sill down that can be returned. But that would mean you
There's
can
two
see that.
windows on the.
It's just behind the door, that's the rear door. That's where I would prefer to connect because that can be sort of repaired. And if it's on the back side, then I gotta go to use the window, I gotta cover up half the back facade and take away financial.
Connector that's neutral and non-architectural and transparent maybe works.
Transparent, you mean like glass?
Okay.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, but mostly I want it to be unseen from the street.
I'll also say under your current proposed scheme, you're punching 2 holes in that back wall now. Off your kitchen.
No, those are existing windows.
Okay. Yeah. Use the window.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. But again, my point is that I don't want to mess with lintels. I'm happier to mess with sills that I can return.
Sure. Looking forward to see what you come up with.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I'll work on that. Good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming in. Any old business?
No, nothing else.
All right. If there's no other items, is there a motion?
To adjourn.
Is there a second? Any questions on the motion? Those in favor? Aye.